December 8th, 2025, the second week of December. And we have the Fed. So the Fed's going to be here in 2 days. Don't forget, you are also getting a summary of economic projections. A lot of people have a general idea. The odds of it have not really changed since the freak out. We got a couple of headlines from Netflix, WBD. They even came out with another headline this morning. But we got to hear about the antitrust issues, whether that deal is going to go through. Marvel and Broadcom. You had some tech stuff. And then otherwise, people just talking about AI transfership and leadership from young OpenAI to Google, but it should be a pretty chill day. There is a couple of themes at play, from commodities and bonds in the Fed. We're going to talk about all of that. I got a bunch of stuff that I want to show you, and then we're going to have to get through this week and see whether or not momentum, small caps, and how it all leads into 2026. Somebody put out an 8100 target today. I know, it's wild, but Chad, before we do any of that, we got 7 hours. Plays, have fun. You could do a lot of things, my friends. So before we get into any of that, before we chase a dollar, we must pay homage to a special group of people that has made a sacrifice that most of us never have and ever will. And I am talking about the veterans of the United States of America. So on behalf of the cult, I want to give a huge special shout out all the active servicemen, past servicemen, anybody who has served this great nation. God bless you and thank you. Thank you for your commitment and sacrifice and beyond. I do want to make a lot of noise for y'all, and I do hope we could encourage those who haven't served to make that possible as well, because we need to get that. Again, it's $6 billion. The homeless vet plans. We got a lot of things, man, and you see it. You saw how social media has changed a lot of things. Just making noise can make some change. So that being said, though, beyond all that, I do want you guys to know your discipline, your commitment, your sacrifice, a lot of these things that you have given to this nation, it also applies very, very, very nice to everything we do in investing. So come on, save that money. If anyone should own the land, it should be you. Get some quality assets and use that discipline, and I'm sure it's going to grow you something that is going to be amazing for you and your family. And at the very least, thank you to you and your family. They made that sacrifice as well. And big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities. All the doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, everybody making their communities run, baby. God bless you and thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise up. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Son of the judge! Oh, it's game time, baby. Oh, no. Oh, come on. Dog. The bells are making sense now, right? It's beginning to look a lot like Chad Moss. Oh, my God. Game time. Game time, baby. Happy Monday. And then, I don't know, it's on the wire, but kind of breaking news. It's going to be a good day today. I don't know. Yeah, it says the source is yourself. That's weird. It's internal, brother. It's internal. And yeah, no, but for real though, there was just a fat ass earthquake in Japan, a 7.2. So yeah, I know it seems kind of weird, but you do watch the end. There is financial impacts depending on what happens. Hopefully nothing happens, but I swear every time towards the end of the year, man. Oh, that's on the Japanese scale I did not know that. Oh, wait, so does that mean it's worse? Because I know a 7 is still big on the Richter scale, but if it's on the Japanese one, I have no idea. That's insane. Yeah, he's saying it goes from 1 to 7 on the Aomori Prefecture. I don't know what this one is, Habibi. So, Chad, we got about, 1 minute here? So let's get it popping. I do have a couple of plays. Again, that small cap rotation or really the momentum. There's a couple of things. You are getting an AI executive order on rules, and then we're going to hear a little bit about farming, but I'd watch Broadcom, Oracle. Again, those are the ones front running here for earnings. Broadcom got to benefit off the Marvel, Microsoft switching from them. WVE, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen a obesity drug kind of get an approval, so we'll see how that plays out. Watch the medical device plays. Watch XBI. A lot of biotechs. We talked about them last week, and I'm telling you, most of the pre-market movers today was some level of biotech approval. And then keep an eye on Bitcoin, silver, and then again, any of the commodities. That is something we're going to have to talk about. And then the IWM, Russell is at a breakout level, so see where it leads us, baby. So wait, it's a 9? No, yeah, either way, man, we're going to find out. We are going to find out. It's a 7.6 on our scale. Okay. Yeah, that sucks, though, dude. This happens before in December. 3, 2, 1. Round 1. Fight. All right, boys and gals. So keep an eye. See if the staples do start to take a lead right there. I mean, Russell is the leader by a fat margin right now. So again, there's a couple of those, what's it called, plays? A couple of the momentum plays that have reacted, but yeah. Oh, wasn't there, I think there was one more on Friday. Who was it? Remember, wasn't there a buyout play on Friday? The one with SoftBank? Why am I tripping on that one? China, I don't know if that's the spread. China might be awoken. Yeah, DBRG. Yep. I forgot about that one. I just remembered as the bell went ding ding. Oh, and then Path. That one's starting to wake up there. So again, they were, oh wow, by a lot. So yeah, that one's already up 4 again. This is just all leading into the Russell. Take note here. I mean, everything's SPY and Dow barely green or barely red. NASDAQ's doing decent, but Russell is already starting up here by like 1%. So, or 0.7. This one, the big Habibi. Yeah, DBRG. That's the one. So yeah, they're doing pretty good. That's that. One God, one king, one way. Yeah, even the shitty paths have went up, and then the ones near the money too. So that might keep continuing. And then where's healthcare and insurance? Healthcare and insurance was on fire. Last like 3 weeks? And then SMTC, you're going to watch a ton of biotechs on the high. I don't know if they're going to hold up or not. And then again, Oracle and Broadcom, they're waking up. And some of the corporate credit issues calm down. Oh no, DVR is on? No! We did that on Friday, bro. People got lost in the abyss. Let me turn it off. Yeah. Alright, it's off on the other one, but yeah, I had to turn it off for you guys. So refresh too, if you're unlocked in. That had a DVR on for a little bit. Again, WVE, that's the other one. Oh, PG hit another low. Again, people, I forgot who it was this morning, but they were talking about everything becoming a tech stock. But again, that idea with some of these value names and looking ahead for the long term, people have been liking that. Yeah, Marvel's still clap, but they're starting to go up. Where's Nivda? Tesla's on fire. I don't think we heard anything on DBRG. You just got the rumor, and then that was it. Who's the other one? Path. ACMR. So again, right now it's all Russell. Oh yeah, we're the robot place. Yeah, iRobot and even the Rich Robotics. Those are both going. So I don't know where those premiums are at. They're actually kind of down. It's just a fat spread. The first trade went in lower. Come on, MSTR, Nvidia. Goldman, again, remember we talked about it last week or like 2 weeks ago, but banks, dude, go take a look at XLF in the financials. They've done very well. Those have actually been one of the bigger leaders here. Again, besides the Russell and all these momentum trades. But that is a positive sign. And then again, watch out for commodities. We're going to talk about that. I got something to go over with the Fed for you guys. Not anything that'll be too new, but a little bit more so confirmation. Yeah, coin is even running up. Uber. Yeah, Bitcoin finally getting a little bit here. And then the dollar's slightly up too. So again, SPYs, it might even go negative. First couple candles here are red. Oh, Ecoid's even down by a quarter. So again, Russell is the winner here, but it does seem to be some more of the small cap momentum. And then a lot of, what's it called? A lot of biotechs. Yeah, refresh, it'll take you off DVR. Good morning. How are you guys? I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you guys are ready too. This week, pretty much after the Fed, it's going to start to chill out. So, or it's going to just turn into holiday mode. Everybody starts eating hot cocoa or drinking hot cocoa. Path 1950. That is the, dude, isn't that higher? So again, I remember that first path we hit. In that 3-4 days, bro, those contracts went 1,000%, but you moved way more on these and they kind of stayed up a little bit, but they're going to have their breakout zone eventually. That one's fire. The timing is a little different because then that we were playing those contracts, they had way more time. Again, Meta is not doing too bad. Netflix had some reactions, and then there was a headline on WBD in the morning. Adobe earnings on 12/10. Oh, no way. I feel like we just had earnings. Sunrise, Verk halted or resumed. 3 of them, LICN, VIRC, and ANPA. What are these? There's one of that TGL one on Friday that kept doing, literally, that stock's like at $2 or something. It kept doing that like halt thing, halt and stop and go. And then again, Amazon or Meta, that's the one really going here. But Amazon's actually in the green. Zscaler. Oglo, I think they got an upgrade this morning. And then watch oil too. I mean, that's pretty much going to be the last commodity to go. CRM. Yeah, CRM's higher than earnings, so that's actually technically a delayed continuation. Trump problem that Paramount let CBS air green the interview. WY. Where are they? Where are the casinos? Just keep an eye on China. They started off pretty good, but kind of fading. Baidu's still up. I think it's reacting to that chip news. Again, I remember they said they were going to spin off one of their units, and I think they were going to go public with it. GEHE, Hawaiian Electric. Oh, I think we might have a penny play on that one. Yeah, they're barely moving. Technically, the last trade went in at 300%, but there's just no bid. Bitcoin went red? Oh? Really? Habibi? No, it's getting, I was going to say, it was up 2%. But yeah, Bitcoin's still up 1.7, just started to react a little bit. So big market cap on MSTR is less than the Bitcoin they hold. How is that possible? Just NAV. So this happens with a lot of things. You see it you see it a couple times, but market is essentially discounting what they have. So it's not like this hasn't happened in other realms, but now in this case, I mean, they just bought a lot of Bitcoin. They own a lot, and now the market is starting to get a little worried, or that's kind of been the theme for the last, month or two. So a lot of OG holders on it, and people who have supported even big money, they're confident. But for now, I mean, it's just telling you, I think it just reflects a little bit of the worry of, buying that much Bitcoin and how they've kind of done it. But it's a touchy subject for most. I think the fact is, or the conclusion is that it just means that they're under a little bit more pressure. But I think it's kind of like Bitcoin on all of them. Let me go back to the chart. But I think a lot of the Bitcoin and anything purchased at higher prices, it's going to go through this pressure. Because they own the Bitcoin, but they paid for it with debt. But I don't know if they have to. I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really follow it because I don't know when they have to pay the payments on the bonds. I don't know when they all mature. So theoretically, if you don't have a bond payment soon, then you know that situation can remain, or at the very least, there's no pressure. So some people, I think they did imply that MSTR is going to sell Bitcoin, but I think homeboy Mr. Michael Saylor said that won't be happening. It's like reflecting it a little bit, but this is a new theme for them. Big Trump truth on P-Sky. P-Sky. Got your first tenant. Congratulations. I hope they're good. I was talking some tenant stories, good and bad, over the weekend. Yeah, he just went in on Hunter's laptop and MTJ. I don't see the Peace Guy one, surprisingly. His last one was 14 minutes ago. Datadog, Oracle, GPCR, weren't they down? Huh? Yeah, GPCR was down a ton. Dude, that's the cancer one. We played this one back in the day. The fuck? So hold on. That might have an opportunity with the plays. Yeah, bro. They were down in the morning at 20 bucks. So I don't know if they had their call or not, but that thing's starting to go. Hi. Did they halt it? Yeah, they halted it. Damn. Yeah, that's what I was saying, bro. This thing was down at 20 bucks, getting clapped in the morning. Cash open, doubled it up, halted, and then now just literally almost did another, what, 30, 40%? And now Microsoft's going, and Amazon. SPY's still into the low. But yeah, that's a cancer drug. I know they had their day today. Where's fucking XBI? I'm surprised XBI's not up even more. But yeah, Microsoft and Amazon. He has to sell some teeth first. No, he will, bro. He will. Don't give him ideas. He will. Pat? Capper. So watch out then. If that, I don't know, that GPCR move, I would watch out for any of these biotechs. The Wave Life Science, that's the obesity one. They were already up like one something pre-market. There you go. Now it's hitting the high. So that's starting to take off. A Bibz. I forgot about Bibz. A couple of the, what's it called? What do you guys notice? So SPY is coming down. NASDAQ did not go down as much. SPY gave up a decent more amount, and then the Dow. But the Russell, you just lost half of those gains right there. So Russell's starting to chill out. Those momentum plays, they started off pretty strong, but they're already giving that up there. But then the NASDAQ is outperforming, and then once again, biotechs, man. That's kind of crazy, some of these moves. Even some of them were down a shit ton, and they rocketed. Have that. Microsoft and Amazon, those keep going. I'm surprised you're kind of holding up how you are. I mean, it seems you have Nvidia up, you have Meta up, or Meta's barely in the red, but is Google down? Yeah, Google's down 1, but you would think with some of these tech moves that the SPY would be a little bit better, but it looks like equal weight's getting smashed, Dow's getting smashed. The NASDAQ is up, and then a couple of values. Got Pepsi moving up right there. Again, there's Wave Life Sciences. On BNKK, I have not heard of it. Bonk? No, probably I'll check for you, but a 20-cent stock. I don't know if it's going to be as hyped. You want hype plays? I don't know if you have the call for it, but you have what's it called? You have the, how you say, the biotech. Yeah, there's no news on that. Good luck. But yeah, I think we were talking about it last week. I showed it, I think, for all of you. But the biotech calendar from from like a week or two till the end of the year, if you're looking for crazy volatility, if you're insisting on a gamble, I mean, the biotechs is pretty much where you're gonna get a lot of hits and misses, especially if you're looking for it to be backed by a catalyst or news. Micron on the high, AMD. Damn, Dollar General. Remember Dollar General post earnings move? They were actually doing pretty good the last couple of days. Yeah, they got rocked. Let's see, where's Target? Target's down 1. Walmart. It looks like all of the big box stores. Kroger's trying to go up. But yeah, all of the staple like retail names are just getting destroyed. I think all the staples. TAP was down a little bit earlier. And then financials chilled out. Again, those are hot, man. So we saw it last week, but the way financials have been playing out, I think it might be more of a getting ready for next year type of thing. iBio, I don't know. That ETF or that's a company. iBio, 83%. I think that was another one. Phase 1, phase 2. I'll check on that. EBO. Actually, no. Habibi, what is this one? Yeah, these guys don't even have data. I think they might be related to WVE. But yeah, this one doesn't even have data. Mine was already up 80. There's a bunch of them. I think even the small cap biotech just might start moving for no damn reason now. Just because of the hype. Japan Railways suspending trains in northern Japan. VSAT 2.9. Is the yen moving on that? Oh my gosh. What happened? Doesn't it look weird? It's naked. Ah! I'm sorry. Hold on, I lost my chart. The one in December, dude. I remember that one, and then people, it was like December 23 or 24, and then I remember the earthquake. My boy was there. Olivier was in Japan when that happened. It was like intense, but then like I remember they were saying how it was going to affect like inflation and some of their plans moving forward, and then the yen did move, so it kind of had a reaction. Well, just hopefully it doesn't get worse. And then we will see. And then NASDAQ slowly giving it up. Again, this is broadly everything going down. I mean, there's a couple of tech names doing pretty well. They're not adding the same pressure, but a lot of the value and a lot of the rotations you got from last week, even the small caps are still holding up and some of the momentum, but a lot of them have given it back already. Or again, they're just making a morning 2% down move, to say the least. And they started off good. That's kind of how Friday felt, but Friday you had 30 minutes of going up a little bit more before it got clapped. Now Disney's going up, and then Bobo, and then Bank's up. Your buddy said the bank in Misawa is on lockdown. Yeah, dude, that earthquake was massive. So I don't know the full story. It just came out right, as we were getting ready for the opening bell, but Yeah, that didn't seem like a small one. And then it is odd that this does, like, end of the year Japan earthquakes. I mean, this shouldn't sound too like, this should sound familiar. Yeah, Boeing going up. And then SPY into the low now. NASDAQ literally 2 candles just gave up about a 0.25. So yeah, that gain on the NASDAQ starting to fade. A couple of transports and industrials are doing good. Yeah, transports. Remember we were talking about that on Friday? Like, it's kind of not, this doesn't happen too often. You have literally transports outperforming the NASDAQ. So very interesting. And now banks once again. So if we still say weak, I think industrials, banks, some of those might be your yours that play. The bonds are not gonna play ball. So I'm gonna talk about this a lot today, but I'll give it to you here in the morning, because if you guys were here last week, I kept ranting away about the bond market and how we're gonna get a new Fed chair. And it's going to get really noisy. And I encouraged a lot of you to not fall for the scams. Don't take the ideas in so quickly, especially when it comes to the transition period and the new Fed chair. And then I said that, and some of you were really quick to do it. But yeah, here's the chart. The last 7 Fed chairs, literally from Arthur Burns down to Powell, the first couple months, you're always going to have the bond yields higher, no matter what type of president, no matter what sort of administration. The whole logic is that it's like, this is like factually yields and bonds, they have to take some time to adjust. Again, even Burns, you could even kind of see how the market and what were we going over last week on Friday? We also went over like the Bernanke effect too. So just keep this in mind. But yeah, the bonds are going to play this for game. That's why tomorrow or Wednesday after the Fed, we really are going to be paying attention. Bonds, commodities, that's what you're going to want to keep an eye out for. Tsunami warning issued. Santa will save the market. Well, just be careful. Santa might have to give the gifts out to everybody else first, and then end of the month. That's usually when Santa comes to town. Japan. Happy Monday. Yeah, bro, it was like a year ago. Yeah. So literally, I'm trying to search the video, but it was like a year ago. Whoa. No, that's fake. Oh yeah, it's not anything yet. You'll hear. IEC. And then Medtronic, so watch medical devices. They got to upgrade this morning. They lagged and then they started going. And then GPCR, that was the one that lagged and then went up 100%. Unity, a couple more small caps. Russell's trying to pick back up 0.4. And now McDonald's, some of the staples that did good last week. Not all of them went down. Anything like store related. You guys remember on Friday, Thursday, it was a lot of like retailers. No matter what, they did good. And then Baidu's still going. Baba's coming back. So China's about to go green. NASDAQ holding. It literally gave up a third and then came back up. by halfway. And then SPY and Dow are down, and then Eco Weight's a little bit rocketed down too. Yeah, it's coming back up though. So not bad, and good morning. ACMR. Yeah, more banks, dude. Goldman, Wells Fargo, they're just on a tear. Yeah, banks is solid all year, man. Tapestry, that's the first clothing one I've seen go up yet. And then Unity at 52-week high. I think that's part of the small caps. Well, it doesn't seem like we're getting an effect from like the Apples and Nvidias. Because again, the Nasdaq's still up. You have good Microsoft, good Meta, or Meta was, but I think that's going to dance around. I think there's just more names that are moving and more of the staples from last week and some of those rotation ones. They're just starting off a little slow. And then if we could get a big tech move, that'll be it. But then again, people are going to start front running ahead of the Fed, or maybe this was already enough. What time? We'll give you a checkup in 5 minutes. PUBG, Airbnb, Uber. Again, that might be part of the transports. Goldman. Yeah, Disney for some reason. All right, China's coming back up, though. Again, China started red. The only good China news. You had Eli Lilly China news this morning. That's on the low, though. But then they were saying, what was it? The Greer said that they're actually going through with the soybean purchases. UNF. UNH. Unity. That is my medicine ball. Taikachi trying to gather info after quake. Yeah, there's a couple more headlines coming out on it. That would suck. So if that does, I don't know if it's going to turn into something. If it does, that will be like a black swan, essentially. Because take note, we've been talking about bonds and even the yen, and we were saying December 19th. But, I mean, if they get a fucking earthquake and then a natural disaster, that's not good. And then, like I was telling you, even like last year, it kind of tweaked out. Disney's like really going now. You got volume and a little bit of a breakout, kind of leading. And then a lot of the other stuff got clapped last week. I remember P-Sky, all of them were just pretty much down on it. Intel's coming down. They started off good this morning. And then more banks on the high. Gold is moving around right now. Good call. And silver. So I don't know if this is the Japan thing or not. So look, dollar's going up. Gold, silver, I mean, it makes sense in the sense that, like, again, if you just got like a dramatic move off commodities, dollar, like it would reflect like this just because it's, again, it's a natural disaster. But nothing's necessarily happened yet. And then more banks. Banks and biotechs. It's a good way to describe this morning. And then tech is just kind of a mixed bag. Oh, Fizzerve. Sipping on some Fizzerve. But how come there's no videos of the earthquake? Because the one last year, bro, there's videos still to... Remember all those fucking buildings were shaking, everything. Oh, they having the Supreme Court thing? On the firing... Russia to limit gold bullion exports from 2026. Okay, so maybe that's the Russian thing, or that's the gold thing. You're getting a headline from Russia about limiting gold exports. Do I have any companies for peptides? Not that I own, but oh, dude, it was like there was like 2 weeks ago. What company was doing the peptide shit? It was a big name. It was a big name biotech that they bought somebody or they're getting into it. But for now, it's owned by like a couple of big names, but I don't know if there's any like new up and coming peptide companies. Or are you asking me like that I use in person? Because I haven't gotten any peptides yet. I'm scared of the needles. I have this thing up. I put up this live stream. Nothing's going on. Dude, it's so weird. So considering it was a pretty large earthquake, there's no like other videos. And then, yeah, these are the tsunami warnings. You guys know you could build one of these with like AI too, right? Believe me, if you were looking for, you play around with Gemini. I kind of like the noises. But yeah, you can make some cool like map trackers and stuff like that with Gemini. Don't tell Sam. EU Trade Commissioner meets India's foreign trade ministers. Yeah, they are raising rates, but that's the irony is that, like, if there really was a natural disaster, it gets in the way of their financial plans. That's what we've seen. That's what happened a year or two ago, and it was kind of contentious considering, like, they were at a pretty interesting point. Yeah, the peptides are. Was it Regen that did the peptides? I think it might be, but I gotta verify that. But I know there's one big biotech getting involved, but I don't necessarily disagree with you. I mean, we've been even talking peptides on here for like, what, a year and a half, 2 years when I noticed the trend, because I wanted to try it. I wanted to get some for my shoulder, the BPC, the Wolverine stack, and then now you got, it just gets crazy because we were just making a bunch of jokes on this last week. Like, bro, you got a bunch of kids doing it now. Now these fucking 15-year-olds are like, I want to hammer my face and get peptides. So but I've heard very good things about them. And like the thing most people don't know is that like peptides are literally like Ozempic. Like, so GLP-1s, like retrotide or whatever, that's a peptide. So it's the same, like the way you inject yourself, all of that. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. So, but I do agree with you. That is a medical trend developing. I don't know who's going to like popularize it and mainstream it. You know, I'm sure we're probably going to see it where it becomes more easy accessible, or it'll get branded like, you know, again, Ozempic, the GLP-1s, everybody knows about that. But I don't know if it is Regen and they start like really selling them, and then I don't know if they could make them in like little, you know how like people do the diabetes blood testing, like if it was just like easier needles and how it goes. But for now, it's like, it's quite the investment. Not only are they kind of expensive, but like you gotta literally like inject yourself, fucking it's like, you know, light a spoon on fire, what? So it's, yeah, that's what it feels like. But I've never tried them yet. So let me know. Find out what company was it, which one it was. There was a company a couple of weeks ago, and they said they're getting into it. Again, GPCR, bro, that's another drug name, or that's that first one. But a couple of them are still running. Now Transmedic, too. Microsoft. All right, so see if that starts to lift things up. I mean, NASDAQ still right below where it opened. Russell's trying to climb back. Dow and S&P are the only ones down. ETN. Profit off looks maxing. It's not even that. It's like, so even before that, like, obviously it ties into some of that. Oh, DBRG is going again. That was the buyout one. But they, it's like, some of them for like, there's digestion, there's immunity. I saw a peptide that makes you tan. Literally, it fucking makes you tan. There's a peptide for everything, and it's only going to get more and more kind of crazy. The hard part is accessibility and then having a way to take it. Like, most people don't know how to, like, I'm scared to do it. Like, I would have done it already if it wasn't so, like, fucking inject yourself and do this, do that. But like I'm saying, people have been doing it. That's like, it picked up steam about like a month or a year or two ago, but now it's starting to like kind of hit a different level. But it's still not easy to get your hands on, and then it's not, once you do, not everyone can do it. They do have one for hair loss, yeah. They have for everything. It's literally for everything. See, juicy juice is intramuscular. See, man, that's why I'm scared of them. And then people love them, dude. Are they all effective? I think they have different levels of efficacy, but like I'm saying, you guys don't remember I talked about this like a while ago. We brought it up a couple of times, but it's just now, it's just getting more, that popularity has not dissipated. That's a better way to put it. It's not as if like it's getting more popular, but then this like wave, like you guys could go on any social media and search up peptides and you'll see a bunch of videos and people who've been trying reviews and their journeys, and then everyone kind of has their own thing for it. Like, people use it for medical, like health, to feel better, recovery. People do it for looks. There's literally every single avenue. I just don't like, so there's one that I wanted to do, but you like, to get the best efficacy, you need to take it every day. But then like, I looked it up, bro, and I'm like, I'm not fucking mixing no liquid, I'm not taking no needle. That's why I was like, I need to find somebody I could go to, and then they just do it. But I'm like, I don't have time to fucking go in every day and do it. But again, a lot of people have learned to take them themselves. But yeah, it's just if you're into that and want to. But I do think, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a more mainstream accessible, like, what's the injection vehicle, or what's it called? Delivery method? I think that's what it is. That'll eventually happen. But there is a big biotech. Back to that. I think it was Regen. Someone said that, but like I said, I got to verify it. But there is somebody who is trying to like start acquiring and get involved in that. I think even Pfizer. Yeah, if they turn it into like click pens, that would be, I think, would be the wave. I know Tyree was saying the spray the other day. I need to order. I want to try that one. But like most of them, like it's just like Ozempic and like the GLP-1s, where like you don't have an oral yet. Like the oral Ozempic, it's not necessarily as effective or that, but like sprays, I think it absorbs different. But the number one way to like make it hit is fucking check yourself. But yeah, I need to get this spray. Let me see. I'm gonna try it. I'll try it over the holiday break. Hopefully I don't die. Send me that link again, Tyree. I want to see it. I don't know why I don't have that email. I just looked up your name. You talk to your sister who's in the medical space. The only downside is a lot of them aren't FDA approved. So there's a lot more studies. Oh yeah, it's not FDA approved, and like, I mean, you know, like people are buying them from India. So like they just the pharmacy compounding. It's the same exact thing as Ozempic. So just like, I don't know if you even saw that South Park episode. Oh, what about the peach tides? Oh, peach, nice and happy Monday. Oh no, my goodness. Bradley Frizzle, have you heard of peptides? Oh my goodness. How about peach tides? You take one a day. One a day, it changes your life. That's what they said. Peach Nation. Peptides for the people. Easily accessible. All consistent effects of you every day. That I could do every day. The peach, that's possible. It requires no injections, minimally invasive. You love it. Oh, yeah. Gotta be consistent, man. Happy Monday. Happy second week. I'm still mad they didn't nominate Bradley Frizzle for the Fed chair. It's too much political polarization. But we'll live with Hassett. We'll live. So SPY still going a little lower. NASDAQ giving up a little. I mean, Dow and SPY are the only ones red. Russell is just like going up half of that gain and then giving it back up. You've been on peptides for a year now. Do you inject yourself with it every day, or how do you do it? GPCR. I was gonna try to hustle one of those plays on there. Oh, we should have. Yeah, that's going insane now. There's no more cheap options on that. There was like one for a second. You've heard of them? Oh, no way. Yeah. See, that's where I think it's at with the peptides. I think a lot of people don't know about them yet, but you all do know about a peptide. So like GLP-1s, that's peptides. So like Ozempic is essentially a peptide. The Eli Lilly one, the Retatrutide or whatever, pretty much a peptide. So we know about them. We just don't really know about them. That's when I went down the rabbit hole. Yeah, man, they're expensive. So yeah, he sent me this thing. Tyree, how long have you been doing this for? Tyree's done the spray one. I've never heard of the sprays until he told me about them. But yeah, apparently there's a spray. But then it's like $160. That's expensive as fuck. But I'm down. Easy to take. Love convenience. BPCLX. Fucking they've the capsules I haven't heard good things on. Oh, you've only had it for 1.5 months. They say benefits after 4 weeks. No more Mr. Fahad. Oh, but Ryan Fahadi. Hey, man, the long term. We changed the brokerages on the long term. It still remained. It's your name. Your reputation precedes you, brethren. Good morning. Instead of Polly Pocket, they have polypeptides. Polypeptide. You've been taking it since 2020? Oh, wow. That's I think that people started making like videos and it got a little popular around there. But yeah, that's crazy. I've heard good things about him. That's why we brought him up when we did. Because like it has been, it's been developing. That's why I would like it to reach a easier level and more accessible. But I heard somebody tell me, they said in the next like 10 years, it's just that's all you're gonna get. Oh, we whiffed on that one, bro. They only had like $1 play left, but it was kind of expensive for what it was. But yeah, dog, that's kind of crazy. It's a cancer drug. So again, any cancer drug, and then if it does good enough, it might soon become a buyout candidate, to be honest. That's what happened with the last one. It was a Montserrat, and then there was another one. Pfizer and Abivai, or Pfizer and Merck bought them too. So again, and I think GPCR is breast cancer. A lot of medical today. Kremlin has got no information about U.S.-Ukraine talks. Gotta stay consistent, man. Wait, do they have them on Amazon? I never thought about that. What would you do? What would you do for a peptide bar? I was like, I got it. I got what you were saying. Oh, man. Dog, I searched BPC spray on Amazon. Yeah, bro, it gave me brake cleaner. So yeah, there's still a little confusion, I feel like, in this space, you know? It literally just showed me brake spray, like, for my car. Yeah, dude, GPC, bro, it just shot up another $10. Oh my goodness. Actually, you could do, I think it's out. You had a little window there. There was a couple cheap ones. Next best bet is, actually, you could do, no, it's still not even expensive enough. Hold on. You could remember where you buy the share and sell the covered call, but that, or you do a debit spread, but nah, it's too insane now. But dog, that before that other halt, there was some like 70, 90. Someone got it at 30 cents. Kushner is trying to help finance Paramount's bid for WBD. Capper, that one's on the high. But other biotech, see if that one goes crazy. And then DBRG, I forgot, where are those? What would you do for a peptide bar? Brake cleaner's the generic version. PPC brake parts. And then WV, all the biotech still going. Now SPY 2, NASDAQ's about to go red. Russell will be the last one, but I mean, it could literally give it up in a second. Let me go to the party. We've been here for just under an hour. God bless America.
Why Confluent and why now?
A burb.
Yeah.
Follow me on Instagram at the Trading Fraternity. We are Code News on
super
Twitter.
Excited about Confluent. Look, I think we'd all agree, data and especially real-time data is incredibly important to how an enterprise functions. Nobody can live with a month-old data or even week-old data, and Confluent has the most capable technology to unlock the real-time value of data across all the myriad of applications, clouds, and other APIs that they all deal with. So that's kind of why Confluent and why now. And then next, as AI agents enter the enterprise and they need to get access to all that data, Confluent is going to give us a great way to open up the AI agents getting access to all the data, but in a controlled way.
So where does this sit? Where's it going to sit within IBM? How do you think it's clearly part of your software business, which has been growing? Is it within Red Hat? How does it bolster what you've already got going there?
It's actually going to sit within IBM software all in, not within Red Hat, but within the segment that we call data. So, and the reason for it is that if everything is only open source, is all going there, and is aligned with how the Red Hat and Linux sales team works, then Red Hat would make sense. But we believe that we're going to get incredible go-to-market synergy through the IBM software sales team. And so this is going to sit within our data segment in software. And also the nature of the recurring revenue in the business is very, very attractive from a financial perspective.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that because the stock has been under pressure, Confluent that is, over the last year, really since, I mean, it peaked above $90 per share after going public in 2021. I know it's still growing double digits and has recurring revenues, but it was growing into the IPO like 50, 60%. So why are we seeing declining revenue in that business, and is that a concern?
Not declining revenue. Look, as things get bigger, it's a lot easier to grow 50, 60% when you're at 200-300 million than when you're at $1 billion. They're at $1 billion and growing at about, call it round numbers, 20%. And that's a very attractive this thing. Now, I think that the synergy we bring in is really across both. It's synergy at IBM, but it's also synergy for Confluent. We can take our go-to-market and help them get into markets where it may have been very expensive for them to go on their own. So that is go-to-market synergy. But we can also open up more money for R&D and innovation by leveraging our G&A and our fixed cost structure, treasury, payroll, ERP, all those things. So we can kind of bring that as synergy so that Confluent can actually invest more and be even more innovative and really take advantage of this AI opportunity that's in front of us. I think much as we did with Red Hat OpenShift, I think we'll be able to increase the growth rate for Confluent going forward and also get it much more into many more enterprises than they might have been able to on their own.
I mean, I cover your growing book of AI business every quarter. You know, we talk through it. You've started to quantify it. So with Confluent now in the portfolio, how should investors think of IBM versus, you know, some of the other AI stocks, the Oracles or the Microsofts? I mean, you guys are all going after enterprise customers, but doing different things.
Right. So if I think about the Oracle, that's much more of an infrastructure or data center play. That's not what we are incredibly focused on. So I would sort of say that's different. It could be that where Confluent runs, maybe actually on top of Oracle, and also getting data access from Azure. So Microsoft has got a play both in models and also in the data center. We are much more on going to our enterprise clients and saying, we want to help you get value from AI. Your one application may be sitting in Azure, another one could be in ServiceNow, a third one could be in AWS, fourth, fifth, sixth could be still in their own data center. How do you unlock data from all this so a single AI agent can then act on this data as appropriate for the enterprise? That's kind of how we play. So I think of it really being complementary to all the others and actually adding value to them, not trying to take away from their market and their value.
Arvind, it's David. You know, when we talk about agentics, particularly moving into the enterprise, and obviously you said you think this is going to help you deploy it more quickly. How quickly? When are we going to start to really see the impact of these agents, so to speak, in the enterprise?
I think in 2026. So David, as I go around, and you brought up a really great point, a lot of people are doing POCs or experiments, but they are a little bit worried about who gets that.
What's up, baby? Welcome, Michael. Had to take a break, but here since 2021. Well, do you have the long term? That's what we need. And I don't know, man. Like we kept talking about like gambling last week, and then I think it made some of you gamble, but just one recent trend here into the end of the year is people pulling the parachute, selling their long term, and then just gambling it away. So don't do that, okay? Be wise and just, man, it's a long mission. That's it, man. And then next year too, bro. People, the crazy part is that if we, assuming we don't have like a crazy dump in the next 2 weeks, but this is about to be 3 years in a row of above 20%. That does not happen too often. So let's see. I'm gonna get me some peptides, dog. Eventually, I want to see. I'll try that one, and then I'm gonna try to fucking just inject myself. No, I'm too scared. I'm too scared, bro. All right, yeah. GPCR gave it up, and then Tap is waking up, but still down from the patches. Good morning. Oh, in 2 houses, then you good, baby. You good. But there's more to do. I think that's build the equity. And then 2, man, y'all get ready for the AI. Not yet in the sense like, I don't think I had Ryan came out to the farm yesterday. He was helping me with some stuff. We were shoveling and ghetto tractoring, but yeah, we were talking about that. Once you get the cribs, man, if you got the crib, the long term, and again, everyone at different stages. So, I really think if you haven't gotten the crib, you should still be really, really thinking about that. And then afterwards, it's just going to be the game of building up the income as well, so you could build up more equity. And then too, make sure you enjoy it. Again, keep your peace, brothers. Keep your peace. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen it though. DBRG's going, but like I'm telling you, every now and then. I mean, I would say it happens at least like once a quarter. But like people do sell the long term and like they give into. I don't know what it is. I think that's what I was telling you. I think it's the social stuff. I was telling you guys from the data, but then we just had that conversation, and then I got another update on it. But I can't do anything after that, unfortunately. Like I don't think you guys should do that, like obviously, but it is it's like richest man in Babylon. If you do uproot the money tree, you gotta go back and plant it again and start over. And then, you put your money in a place where it's going to actually work for you. And then another thing too, I don't know, just have no fear. This is a different topic, but just more so along the lines like, there's, especially right now, that's why I keep bringing up some of these value names, is just like, if you have a fear of putting the money to work, that's another thing that highlights a lot in the data. It's not that people are struggling, it's not that they're gambling, it's not that they're uprooting everything, but sometimes the problem or the thing kind of holding people back is that they don't know what to do with the cash, right? It's just like I forgot what story it was, but it's like you get money, you'll have something, and then you're like, I don't want to lose it, I don't know what I should do, I want to wait. But just remember, like, waiting is not always going to be a good idea. Like, patience, prudence, that's always wise, but you don't want to get complacent, and you don't want to not be taking actions. That's the beauty. The long term, there will be at least a couple quality places you could always get your money to work, and that's the idea. That's what we talked about a lot last week, putting the money to work. Let it work. Hot dog. Yeah, SPY just dropped there, everything except the Russell now, because NASDAQ gave it up there. Let's get a checkup. Show me what you're working with. Long to fast. Hold it long. So Dow, you got 10 green, 20 in the red. NASDAQ, 44 in the green, 55 in the red, so about 50-50. And then S&P, 194 green, 308 in the red. So not bad. Bow, bow. Launch him fast. Save it fast. I'm sorry. It's a good song, bro. It's a good song. BTC. Oklo on the low. Yeah, I think they're going down earlier. Fishing trip in Miami? Oh no. I said I want to either maybe this weekend, but it'd probably be in San Diego. I have to see. I got to make sure I'm not leaving. Because again, after this week, I'm taking off on the 14th. So I got to make sure I'm not leaving the country. If I leave the country, no fishing trip. But no, we wouldn't be in Miami. It would have to be San Diego. I looked though too. There's one the Point Loma sports fishing. And we wouldn't get our own boat. We would have to just we would just be sharing it with the general population. So we can't tell them we're cold people, it is what it is. Kremlin has no info about Ukraine. That's old. And we haven't heard anything on the, what's it called? Nothing on the yen or Japan. Bitcoin did give up most of it now. So Bitcoin's down 2% from the high. Your cult chart. It's a cult. I love that one, bro. That jersey is the hardest thing ever. Tell me what you're working with. All right. DraftKings. They're still down too. Flutter started reacting a little bit. But yeah, you just started off. This was like Friday, but Friday you had way more highs for the 30 minutes, and then it started to fade. But it was I mean, again, this whole idea of just momentum picking up. That last 10 days, it's been pretty active. Gold 42.20. Oh, I heard something on gold. Someone was saying something crazy on gold. And then again, we saw last week, man, the whole silver gold thing was kind of nuts. So that one's still in play. But no, they were talking about the revaluing of gold. I mean, we have gone through a year. I don't know, maybe by midterms, or pretty much like give it like another year. If depending on the whole recession, deflation, inflation, whatever type of effect we get, that's where the talks of gold are going to come back up. Google on the low, kind of dumping here a little bit. So NASDAQ might go from the leader besides the Russell to the lagger. Just see if any of these other tech names go down. And then again, biotechs are killing it. There's WVE. That's the other one that went crazy today and still running. Good morning. Happy Monday. Camping trip next summer. Oh wow, I guess we could do camping at the what's it called, at the farm. I don't know, you think we should? I just feel like it's too much liability, but like we should do like 1 week Survivor. You guys think we could do that at the farm? You have to bring a tent, and then whoever survives, like that's it. You can't use the house. You have to like cook your own food, but like there's nothing to hunt out there. Maybe we'll get like little turkeys or something. WVE, Lulu, man, all the ones that were on fire on Friday got clapped. A lot of the retail, a lot of the clothing, because again, people were feeling good about it last week, man. Like Naked and Afraid. Yeah, I think y'all would sue me if I said, I was like, okay, take your clothes off. Survive. What? This is not, I did it. This is not okay. But yeah, I'm thinking like, you know, camping, survival of the fittest. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't rain. Because when it rains there, it's terrible. Oh, Melina. Most healthcare is down right now. I'm a survivor, I'm on a long term, I'm a save harder, I'm a by long term, I'm gonna hold it. I'm sorry. C-Gem. And then Unity. Damn, that was on fire. C-Gem. What is this? Silver Trust? I've never heard of this one. I was like tweaking out. Yeah, and then Disney too. That one's been on fire. It's not like, again, nothing's real momentum except for the biotechs. That's it. But it's not as if it's like a crazy day right now. But it's not as good. NASDAQ going back to green. And then tomorrow you'll get JOLTS jobs data, and then that'll be the final pregame front run into the Fed. They might even do more moves on what's it called? You might get more moves on the day of the Fed than not. Then you got a bond auction today. Bonds are terrible. So yeah, that's even lower than last week. So remember, we started off the month, people reacting. I mean, people thought it was ex-dividend, but it was really the Kevin Hassett stuff and then all of the noise. But like I'm telling you, bro, it's gonna get noisy. So just in case you missed it, we talked about this a lot last week. So I was telling you guys, just don't fall for the noise. So, and this is going to be a major theme. So right now, too, even commodities. So besides oil, we talked about that as well. Commodities have been going crazy. So it's odd because last time you had commodities go crazy, you've really had high inflation. You're not really getting that. You're getting commodity inflation, and then everything else kind of just still holding their levels or going down. But commodities and bonds, that's really going to be the major theme into the first couple of months of next year, because depending on what the economy does, depending on how it all plays out, those are going to be very, very important. So, but now that's why we'll get the Fed. A thing nobody's really talking about for this week is that we also get the summary of economic projections. But like I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of noise. Everyone's going to say the Fed, the new chair, they're going to bring up Trump, and they're going to even say bond vigilantes, the bond market's rebelling. But literally since in 1970 till Jerome Powell, even when Jerome Powell was put in office, the bond market fought against it. It's not, they're going to say it's fighting, but essentially it's just that adjustment period I keep talking about. So again, how is that reflected? With bond yields going up. So no matter who the Fed chair is, no matter who the president, no matter what's happening, whether it's inflation or not, like again, same thing happened with Volcker. There was two people ahead of Volcker, same exact reaction. Then Volcker got nominated. Volcker was the worst one. That's the crazy point. Yields, the 2-year yield, the rates went up by 211 basis points. That's a shit ton. And then 10. But then again, he was also the guy who came in with the plan to raise it. Again, Powell or Yellen, you could argue, were kind of the most bullish ones, and they were coming in while we were pretty much doing QE. You know, Yellen was the queen of QE, and then Powell, you know, he played his cards right, but he essentially was the same. But yeah, those yields still, they went up, but it was just a lot lower. So this is going to happen again, and that's why, like, remember, from December 1st till now, the bond move has already been big. And remember, all year, bonds were important, but only if they get to that level. And then every time we get to the level, something happens. So only difference is that now you're going to get this new Fed chair. The environment is a lot more hostile and politicized. And then you're on the back half of the damn 40-year bull bond market, or bond bull market. It's ending. It's ended pretty much in the last 2 years here after that, you know, wild move and everything else we've gone through. So other than that, though, this is, I think, a very big topic. And then it can lead to the SPY moving. So like we're saying here is Burns. So Arthur Burns, this was right before Volcker, I believe. You know, he got nominated. The yields rocketed, and then the market went up for a little bit, then the market dumped, and then, or no, that's when on the nomination, and then right as he came in, the fucking yield started to go down, and then the bond market kind of chilled out a little bit, or the stock market, and then it got a little bit worse. So that's the next level you're going to be waiting for. So don't get distracted by the news. Don't get distracted by the noise. This is all midterm. This is going to take 3, 6 to 9 months. And then what you got to look for is eventually, when does the bond market move the stock market? And that's important because, like we're saying, a lot of times this year, think about it, the bond market has not moved the stock market. Could you guys agree to that? You know, we've had our moments where, you know, you had your moments here where the bonds would get tricky and everybody would freak out, but bonds have done jack shit. But then the market really, really rocketed. So that's kind of, let me go back to that. You're kind of waiting for that, because this is where we're at. I mean, again, he hasn't even been nominated, so you're going to be in this weird in-between. But that's what I was telling you, by like March, April, May next year, that's when we're really going to find out kind of what's going on. Because again, even Burns, he lowered the rates, but then the stocks didn't react for a while, and then even by the end of that year, they didn't do good. But that is what I think that would be your best case scenario, is that we get the Fed chair, bonds start moving. It doesn't matter which way they move, but then we start to like correlate with the stock market again, or even inverse it. It doesn't matter which one, but what matters is if it actually causes a change. So we will see. But yeah, that was something we kept talking about, and I think it's even more so important. And then, well, next year's going to be wild now. I mean, assuming we don't have that sell-off here until the end of the year, but it's, dude, 3 years in a row of 20%. I don't know how often I think that's happened less than like a couple times. Remember, that's how we came into this year, and we kind of knew it was going to be a big year just because of the 2 back-to-back 20%ers, but 3? Oh, brother. Oh, brother. So, yeah, I don't know. NVIDIA SoftBank news is Reuters. What did they say? A long term. SoftBank are looking to invest in skilled AI at $14 billion valuation. IMMP. Target's coming back up. See if any of those stores, because look at Target, that kind of went off the bottom. Again, these were the ones that were on fire last week. The Dollar Generals, the Targets, the Krogers, everything in that retail big box space, even clothing, makeup. So, but they started off pretty weak here. If that comes up, that'll give you a little bit more lift. NASDAQ might go green again. Equal weight stopped moving, but now equal weight's matched up with the S&P. Dow's red, and then now Russell. Yeah, Dow is 18 in the red. It was 20 before. Yeah, skilled AI, that one's hitting the wire. I think it might be the craziest, it might be the biggest 3-year rally in history. We're at 15. Are we? I thought we were at like 19 or 20. I think at one point we were above. Maybe it's just the NASDAQ. The golden era. S&P's at 18.2. NASDAQ's at 22.8. That was as of Friday's close. Amazon's starting to give it up. And then Clorox, more value. Couple names starting to dump a little bit more on the low ticker. It's picking up. CLX. I like it. I like a lot of them. So I think the whole entire, any value name you know of is, you could add it to your list. But I do think that concept is going to get very popular soon. Who was it? I think it was Ed Yardeni. But then there was someone else too, I think a Bank of America person, and they were talking about it, just how it's not going to be all about Mag 7 moving forward, and that there is an opportunity here where pretty much everything becomes a tech stock because they're going to benefit off of the technology, the AI. That's something we've talked about for a while. Like AI is just, right now there's AI in like software, and you're selling it, and then how do you make money with like a chatbot? But everything from robotics to physical AI, and then even factories, that's where the auto plants come into play, all that type of stuff. I think a lot of companies are going to benefit off of automated labor and other things, and then that's where it starts to get a little bit more aggressive, and then that's where the margins do good. But then again, you need real productivity, and when that happens, and then or is it going to require too much investment? But point is, there's a lot of names making billions of dollars, stable, great brands. I don't think they're going to disappear. And then as the time goes on, they're just more and more likely to benefit off of everything going on. And some of the valuations will be a steal. About Carvana? What about, they got added to the S&P 500. That's why they're up 8-9% today. But I'm not like, yeah, I don't know. Carvana, is that the vending machines, right? I think they had some issues with their credit too not too long ago. People were kind of getting worried, but I'm not too I'm not too involved in Carvana. TWG, why did that sound familiar? I might have gotten halted. Top Wealth Group just got unhalted. I think they might have halted it again. And then SPY about to go lower. So that little rally there did not last. Bitcoin even going lower. Bitcoin about to go negative on the day. The yen is into the low. I think you stopped reacting to the whole earthquake thing. Oh yeah, SPY a little lower. Russell's still holding on all day with all these moves. And then a couple small caps, biotechs. I think XBI is still up. XBI is still giving it up now. And then again, a couple of those value names that were leaders last week that started off weak, they're coming up, but not all of them. Ten-year at 4.1. Habibi. On JD under 30. I don't like them as much. Only Baba and Baidu are my China plays. Just because those are companies I know about. I know about JD too, but it doesn't really fall into the like AI and tech that, or like even companies that are like as stable in China. Doesn't mean it won't be. I mean, I think I have Leaps on JD and I enjoy playing it. I bought it at one of the lows, but it's just not the same powerhouse as like a Baba or Baidu. You know, Baba is Chinese Amazon and some. It's like Chinese Amazon. It's everything. And that wasn't going away. You know, I think Baba had at one point more cash than its damn market cap. And then Baidu is the Chinese Google. And then, you know, the Bernie or the Ernie bot, and then mixed in with QN and Baba. Those are, you know, that thankfully was able to get us some of the AI exposure to the cheap AI. But JD and Pinduoduo, like the Temus and all that, they're great. And then JD is like a streaming site, I think. I want to say it's like their Twitch, but I don't view them in the, because again, when we bought China, it was kind of skeptical. You know, remember we bought it at when it was really struggling. It wasn't there. And we said no more than 10% of our portfolio would be directed there. So I'm glad we bought it, and I'm glad that 10% was able to grow to being a little bit more. But yeah, I can't give the same level of, I know about them like JD and all those other ones. I like trading them, but long term, just Baba and Baidu for me. If Hassett was hella hawkish, yeah, man, you never know. You never know. I don't know. I mean, the Bernanke Bernanke was terrible at the end, but in the beginning, Bernanke was, the market was very fearful and it was expecting stuff because of the tech bubble and how things were leading. And then young Bernanke ended up being correct. We might see that with Hassett. Otherwise, he's probably going to follow the Trump thing, but we don't know. That's the whole idea. So I would put that in the possibilities. He may not he might be easily more hawkish than people expect, just because everybody thinks he's going to be extremely dovish because of Trump. So that may surprise people. And then I also want to see, I also think with Bessent controlling the Treasury and helping with the bonds, that's going to open up a lot of room for him. This is by May. No, yeah, so like pretty much Powell has this meeting, and then January, February, and then April. I think those are so this is the last, like, he has 4 more meetings left. And then he comes in. But once he's nominated, I mean, that's gonna, the last 3 meetings are just pretty much Powell's term ends in February, and then the rest is the transition period. You own SPR after the merger, your stock change it to a 9 symbol. You should have it. Call your brokerage, but you didn't lose anything. So if you see that, like, that 9-digit number, that's your ownership. But I don't know the full deal, I don't know the terms of it. So depending on that, it'll either turn into your shares or not, or whatever you're supposed to get. Or you might have gotten the like a cash payout, and then you'll hold that asset until it turns into something. Munger loved China. That was his last position before he passed. Well, Carvana's still going up. Baba. It sucks though. Baba chilled out, man. It's still very high. I mean, considering where we got it, but yeah, it chilled out after that October move. A lot of things did, but then now that's the other place still, whether Chinese AI goes off or not. I'm in a cup. A bibsy. Oh yeah, you're right. The China military and Baba, and they just haven't had anything. It's not like it's been a good year for their assets, but then it's not like anything changed too much, right? Like some of the Chinese gamblers came back, and there was some momentum. The AI's been killer in China, but it's not as if they're like, it hasn't brought them back to like insane growth again. So that's the thing. It's like they had a lot of momentum, and it's like if you want momentum, you start. If China's economy ever turns on like it was a couple years ago, like just how we saw with like Macau numbers are coming back. So I'm saying the gamblers are kind of reacting, but you just need it to like start blowing shit out the water and getting back to those crazy growth rates. But until then, that's kind of been the dark cloud on China. Couple names on the high. Just a couple. You want to get into buying out businesses? It's good. It's just a lot more risk. So like the difference between like real estate and businesses are big money. If you find them all, and you could go start finding like business brokers. That's a good way to get involved. But the only downside is that it's much more complex, and then it's paper. So yeah, you might walk away with companies with assets, and that's always good. Like I know a guy who just buys like practically BK companies, and then he just strips them apart, sells anything worth money, and then takes the tax write-off on the debt and then calls it a day. But a lot more risk to reward. So let me put it this way, like real estate, you got to like try to lose your money, right? You have to really find something and overpay for it, and you got to like try. A business, the only downside is like if you're right, you're going to get heavily rewarded. If you're wrong, then you're going to get really, really clapped. So I wouldn't really try to speculate too hard on those, because then you might as well speculate on the public companies. But if you could find good cash flowing names that you could like take over the business, have teams in place that are already operating it, and then it you just either get a check from profits or something of that nature. That's probably the best way to get started. But yeah, shop around, or local businesses too. You would be surprised what you would find in like your local areas. I'm in a cold. Oh, so Whitus waking up. Couple more biotechs too, but SPY's about to go into the low. Yeah, LoopNet has some, but like, just be careful of like the people selling. Like, people will charge a lot for businesses with like no real assets. So I like businesses with real estate, but like LoopNet will have a bunch of fucking companies that are just, you're paying them 200 grand for whatever they've built there, but if they don't own anything, they're selling you leases and shit. But again, if it's a good business, shit, that's on you. But it's again a lot more both time consuming and then the risk to reward, especially if you like know about them or not. But there is a good opportunity to buy like smaller companies, and then like I'm saying, like just take over small stakes in companies or majority stakes, and then you let them build. But then there's like a realm where it just starts to get like you're getting into the deep end. If you get into the deep end with companies that are private, substantial risk to reward. Walmart dumping a little bit. Yeah, those are the best. If someone's like, if they're retiring and getting it out, the only problem though is you need someone to manage it. So, or if they have like a team that you could keep in place. Okay, did they halt Serwitis, or is my shit just lagging? I think it might be. Philip Morris waking up too. A lot of dude, my platform's glitching out. I keep seeing these highs and then I load them up, they won't go. Yeah, Target's on the high. And then Kraft, a couple value names are starting to go up. Kraft and Campbell's, Target. SPY's coming down, but my E-Trade, it's still showing them, but the candles are tweaking out. Yeah, Target. Again, that started off weaker. There's only a couple of them on the big box. Actually, Kroger came back up. Macy's did good last week. It's down. Yeah, all the value plays are actually going up. Most of them. Some are still in the red, but they are waking up. Traders price in less than 75 basis points of Fed easing by end of 26. Not bad. When did that get us to 3 though? 75 basis points would mean be at 3.2 by the end of next year. Do I want a restaurant? Nah, I'd maybe want like I don't know. If I want a restaurant, it'd be so I could eat there. But no, restaurants aren't really the best businesses. eBay on the high. Again, my E-Trade's kind of tweaking out. The high ticker's still working. You got to load them up, but a couple of these value names are going up. Dawn Betaville takeover note. Yeah, my shit won't load. Yeah, I see it. I see the candles. And then Deer waking up too. Actually, Deer with the stick. Yeah, Deer just popped up $3, just under 1%. Not a trigger, but that's part of those values that are waking up. Assisted living with real estate, yes, those are really good. The guy, I had one guy take a look at the farm. I played basketball with this dude. That's what he does. So you just got to get the licenses. If you get the licenses, then you work with the insurance companies. But if you're licensed for it, it's kind of a, I wouldn't call it a monopoly, but that's where they make all the money. Because then if you get the license, you're able to operate it, and then it's fire. Bro, each raid, why you do this, Habibi? Yeah, Rumble's going, a couple of places are going out on Down Detector and Microsoft Teams and Gmail. So I don't know, we might be having a little tech problem. I could usually tell by my platform. I don't think there was news on Unity, I'll check. Owning electrical or HVAC, very profitable. That's been, I mean, there's been already a lot of purchases in private equity with that. But I think anything electric, just if you know how to fucking do it, that's it. There were in very short supply of like electrical technicians and people who know how to operate it. So if you could get a business like that, oh man, you're gonna have a good time in the AI world. Like we talked about the cleaning. AI cleaning has been, some of them are making more money than AI startups. New York 1-year Fed expectations unchanged at 3.2. You're getting USDA numbers as well, but I think we're still just kind of continuing this trend from the morning, right? But from here now, the staples and value are starting to catch the bid. Take a look into a class in small business management. I mean, that's if you're gonna run it. That's why I keep saying, if you really want to consider buying a company, you got to really think about like a management team already in place, because that's what happened. Like people will buy companies and then they'll try to like put all these pieces in, and then it just will not work. But like if you could buy, like most people, if they'll sell a company, especially like these older people, they'll offer like a transition team, or they'll even offer to run it. A lot of business deals, they will be like, they'll keep the same team in place, and they'll say, you buy the company, you take it over, and then we're going to really manage it for the next 2 years. Or again, you find businesses that don't require a lot. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a high risk, high reward. And you could buy something that has a lot of value, but if it operates differently, I mean, theoretically, you could destroy all the value. All right, man, low ticker's pretty active. You hit another low. It's only 0.3, but all this is doing now is matching up the NASDAQ with the SPY and the Dow. NASDAQ's a little bit behind. Russell is about to go red. Equal weight just took a dump on that. And then a couple of those value names are picking up here.
of reliance is itself the violation of the separation of powers. And where that's the case, this supposed congressional reliance interest should be given little or no weight in our view. And then, yeah, I think I'll say that.
So I clicked on it. My captions were showing, they were talking small business. You remember that guy? That's Trump's lawyer. Yeah, you have employees too. Well, that's the thing. So, like, think about it. So that's why people like buying stocks. Because that's why, like, to a certain degree, if you want to invest in, like, companies, that's why people like equity, because you could even do this with private companies where you could take equity stakes and not necessarily take, you know, majority ownership or management, and, like, do all of it. Because that's exactly why people like stocks. I mean, you don't have to deal with all this. Think about taxes and all of that. So, and then again, you buy a company. That's the thing, you know, when I first started looking into a lot of them, it was because you absorb the debt. So that could be either good or bad. But, you know, that's another factor most people don't consider. So you're going to take on all the liabilities. IMMX. No, bro, we haven't seen him. Apple chief staff says he's not leaving anytime soon. So K leaps. So that's why I don't, because now you're gonna make me answer this to save people. But so this is why I don't want you guys talking about options here. Go to the locked in chat, because now you're gonna say that the K leaps are cheap, but the company got bought out. So that's why. So you're not really investing in anything. And then if you buy any of those options, it's an instant loss. So, yeah. But that's why. They're cheap. They got bought out. And then even there's other companies that don't really move a lot that'll have cheap leaps. So, yeah, man. Please follow the rules. It'd be nice. You know, don't get banned into the end of the year. BRG. I chilled out for a little bit. And then the Microsoft. That's been solid all day, man. GME. A bunch of Morgan Stanley upgrades. Let's see, man. We're chilling. I think honestly, that Supreme Court thing might be the only thing going on right now. That's why you're asking. Well, look it up and go see. We'll look it up and see before, but it offers room for confusion. Send me your long term. Can I see your long term? Nothing else is going on right now. I might start looking at your guys' long terms. We should probably go through them. But yeah, if you want to do options, go to the locked in chat, or respectfully go somewhere else. And you could ask other people those questions. Because again, if it opens up room, I'm telling you, bro, I'm seeing too many people dump their long term and trying to make a quick bag. It was a great year too. That's what sucks. Because like, I think if you hesitated at this year and you fell behind on 20-30%, it got people react. Damn, Deer went up. Oh man, it's still showing me Digital Bridge. No, Deer went up too though. That one's still going. BLS to not publish October PPI. And then Microsoft too. The early morning. The news is on the locked in the morning. Let's
that have the kind of removal protections that are at issue here. There's some, what, 24?
That's what seal law said. That's probably a good accounting. And obviously we have challenged 4 of them in this court, and we're challenging a handful of others in other courts as well.
You could challenge the National Labor Relations Board, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the Commission on Civil Rights, potentially the Sentencing Commission, the Occupational Safety and Health Review Commission, the Consumer Product Safety Commission. All of these have that kind of structure.
I don't know if all of those are on the list. Certainly some of them are.
No, you just have
and
to
some
open
of
up
them,
both checks.
and many of these agencies we are litigating, including in this court.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
Google on the low. Counsel.
Mr. Huggable?
Huggable?
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court.
His name is Huggable?
The president's constitutional duty to execute the law does not give him the power to violate that law with impunity. But petitioners claim that the president was free to fire Commissioner Slaughter without cause in violation of the FTC Act as authoritatively construed by this court. And they urge, even if that firing was illegal, there is nothing that any court anywhere at any time could do to remedy that violation. The district court correctly rejected both arguments, and its judgment should be affirmed. On the merits, multi-member commissions with members enjoying some kind of removal protection have been part of our story since 1790. So if petitioners are right, all 3 branches of government have been wrong from the start. Congress and prior presidents
they were
have
talking
been
about it this
wrong
morning.
to jointly create,
depending on how this plays out,
early founding era commissions and more than 24 traditional independent agencies since 1887. And this court was wrong to repeatedly bless those laws and to unanimously uphold the exact same removal provision at issue here in Humphrey's executor almost a century ago. Reasonable people can and do disagree about first principles,
I have both
but
chats
any
up. That's all I do.
abstract theory that would wipe
a
away so
newswire,
much
and then I got
history and
both
precedent
chats. I
should be a
read all of it.
non-starter. At a minimum, petitioners would
that's why
need
there's
an
not many,
airtight theory
newswires,
to
there's not
justify
much.
the
You're just starting
radical
to get a
change that they
rotation
now
back to
seek,
the rotation
and they don't have
tables.
one. No tool of interpretation clearly supports the president's assertion of an unrestricted and indefeasible authority to fire the heads of traditional independent agencies like the Federal Elections Commission and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Plus, petitioners' theory cannot be reconciled with their own apparent position on the Federal Reserve and Article I courts. Finally, stare decisis militates against overruling a century of precedent
PPI
at this late date. The political
15,
branches are more than up to the task of finding reasonable legislative solutions that strike an appropriate balance. That kind of legislative solution is far preferable than abandoning a foundational precedent on which so much of modern governance is based. I welcome the court's questions.
Was Humphrey's executor an executive branch
20
case?
minutes till you're up close. Start doing a push-up. I'm going to start doing
It was
one
an
now.
executive branch case, Justice Thomas, insofar as the FTC is an entity that is not operating under the auspices of Articles 1 and 3.
kind of sticks out, but deer, that's been the one that's
But
like,
it is also a case in which Congress and the president coming together have determined that it's not part of a traditional executive department. And
Did the court in Humphrey's executor distinguish it from its earlier precedent in Myers?
The court, yes, absolutely distinguished the FTC from its earlier precedent in Myers.
Wasn't that distinction based on its function more as a quasi-legislative, quasi-judicial agency as opposed to an executive branch agency?
It was based in part on functions, Justice Thomas, but it was also based on the placement of the agency and the considered determination of Congress and the president together that this was the kind of agency that should be insulated from presidential at-will removal.
Now, you rely on the reliance interests and started in the reliance interests of Congress and reliance interests, I guess, of others of the agency heads on the structure of this agency for so many years. So, what is it, 70 years, you say?
The FTC is 111 years old.
But from Humphrey's executor?
90 years.
And how would you have applied that in the overruling of Swift v. Tyson, your reliance interests?
Yeah, so Swift v. Tyson deals with a completely different kind of situation with respect to the Erie Doctrine.
So there was no reliance interest?
So reliance interest with respect to choice of law determinations, I haven't thought through that systematically, Justice Thomas, to tell you the truth. I do think that there is a reliance interest here that is both immense and undeniable, and that is the fact that Congress and the President have determined that there are certain statutory authorities, not constitutional authorities, statutory authorities that the executive branch would never have in the absence of congressional legislation, that Congress and prior presidents thought should not be under the sole control of just one person. And that reliance interest would be completely destroyed by retroactively destroying the independence of traditional agencies.
I don't know what a traditional executive administrative agency is, but could Congress limit the removal authority of the president in a newly created executive branch agency? Let's say, for example, a few years ago, EPA became an executive branch agency. It was more of an administrative agency, a sub-cabinet. Could it, in doing that, limit the removal authority of the president, of the head of the EPA, or Homeland Security?
I think it is within the realm of possibility, Justice Thomas, and I don't think that the court ex ante should adopt any kind of categorical rule precluding that.
No, I'm trying to, again, the SG was asked about the logic of his argument. What's the logic of yours? How far does it carry you? If this is an executive branch agency, and your distinction is this is a multi-member agency, why doesn't the logic take you to a single-head agency also?
So you're asking whether a single-headed agency could be converted into...
No, I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I would just watch values right now, and then, I mean, keep an eye on the high ticker if anything pops off, deer, and then the biotech.
To make the heads of the agency or the principals removable.
Mm-hmm. So there are constraints. One of the constraints is that the creation of the agency and the insulation from presidential control cannot interfere with the president's conclusive and preclusive constitutional authorities.
But you still haven't told me, why can't tomorrow morning Congress decide that the Secretary of Congress should be removable and should limit the president's authority to remove the Secretary of Commerce?
That would be squarely foreclosed by this court's decision in Seala Law as we understand it. And that is to say, this court in Seala Law held that there is a particular serious threat to individual liberty that is posed by single-headed agencies that wield significant executive power.
Could Congress convert all these departments into multi-member commissions? The Commerce, EPA, Department of Homeland Security, Department of State, convert them all into multi-member commissions and make them removable only for cause?
No, I think, Justice Kavanaugh, we're looking at three buckets here. In one bucket, including the Department of State, you would have departments that under no conceivable circumstance could practicably be converted to a multi-member commission because they are wielding so many of the president's conclusive and preclusive constitutional authorities. But that is a relatively small bucket. Let's say Department of State, Justice, Defense, Homeland Security, probably.
Are you saying, though, that they're limited by practical concerns or constitutional concerns?
Constitutional concerns, and then practical concerns will come up as well.
Well, let's put aside the practical concerns. I'd like to understand just the answer to Justice Kavanaugh, why tomorrow Congress couldn't transform every cabinet official into a multi-member group. What's the constitutional problem with that, I think, is what my colleague was getting at.
Absolutely, and the constitutional problem, in our view, is that Congress cannot limit the president's authority over officers who are wielding the president's conclusive and preclusive constitutional powers, and that is a line that goes all the way back to Marbury v. Madison. It's a through line through this court's jurisprudence, including Justice Jackson's
The FTC has the authority to enter foreign agreements, right? I mean, how do you decide what's conclusive and preclusive?
It does not have the authority to enter into foreign agreements on its own, Justice Barrett. The statute expressly provides that the Secretary of State's approval is required before any kind of agreement is executed, and the Secretary of State, of course, is subject to the President's plenary removal power.
You talked about three.
Sorry.
I just want to make sure I understand, because it's fairly basic. I mean, are there some cabinet departments that you say Congress could just take over? Department of Veterans Affairs, Department of Education. They think, well, experts can do a better job of it. And so we're going to say there is now an agency, the Agency for Education, and it will be run by, whether it's a multi-member group or not. We think it's important for Congress to have greater control over education. So we're creating this new agency, and its authorities will be everything that the current Department of Education has, except it will be run by a commission, and they can only be removed for cause. Is that all right?
Yeah, I think that it is probably within the realm of possibility for agencies, yes, Chief Justice Roberts, and the constraint historically has been that these types of determinations have been made through a process of political accommodation between Congress and the President, and over the course of more than 200 years, we have not seen.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, but sometimes that accommodation is greater than in other times. I mean, we have situations, let's say, where the Congress, both houses, are controlled by one party, and the President is of the same party, and they may decide that the government would be structured better than by taking over these entities. And so which departments could Congress impose a multi-member commission instead of a secretary?
Yeah, so if you're asking about which ones could be converted today, I think it's probably a pretty small universe in terms of the numbers that could be wholesale transformed as they are currently constituted. Why? Because it appears that the vast majority of executive departments wield at least some powers that this court would deem to be conclusive and preclusive, including under the standard that this court enunciated.
Well, how are those? I'm sorry. Keep going.
Including under the analysis that this court set out just last term in Trump v. United States, where at pages 620 to 621, the court explained that the President does have a conclusive and preclusive authority with respect to certain criminal investigations and prosecutions, and that informed the court's determination about whether the acting Attorney General was subject to at-will presidential removal. It turns out that the vast majority of these executive departments do have some kind of criminal investigative authority, including armed law enforcement agents authorized to make arrests. Now, that's a significant bucket. You probably have
every agency in the government today has armed police officers, their own police force. Is that really the test of what's conclusive and preclusive?
So we're not saying
it rhymes, but I don't know what it means.
Justice Gorsuch, I think you're making a good point insofar as you're saying insofar as Your Honor's point is that there's a lot of what these agencies do that would not be deemed conclusive and preclusive, and we absolutely acknowledge that. And
so the answer to the Chief Justice's question is tomorrow we could have the Labor Commission, the Education Commission, the Environmental Commission, rather than Departments of Interior and so forth.
So I don't know that you could do it tomorrow because, like I said, for the vast majority of agencies, there are at least some conclusive.
So what's the percentage then?
So I don't want to pretend, Justice Gorsuch, that I
want to know where the threshold of preclusive and conclusive comes in.
Yes, and so what we would say is that if the
agent... Is it a mere scintilla?
I think that's what I think you would have a separation of powers problem if an agency, even if it's a vast agency wielding a broad panoply of powers, if one of those powers is the President's conclusive and preclusive authority, and the officers who are exercising that power are insulated.
So long as one person in the agency is exercising conclusive and preclusive, whatever that means, that's enough.
So it's enough to have a separation of powers, and I wouldn't just say person, I would say a principal officer. It's enough to generate a separation of powers problem, and what is the remedy for that problem, I think, is an analytically more difficult question.
What's the difference?
It strikes me, Mr. Agawam, as I listen to this, if you go back to, let's say, the Education Department with which the Chief Justice raised, that the more realistic danger here is that we'll have an Education Department as authorized by Congress, by law, that won't have any employees in it.
I think you're absolutely right, Justice Kagan, that there are competing dangers here, and it makes a whole lot of sense to us to weigh the real-world dangers that we know are a virtual certainty that would result from adopting petitioner's constitutional theory, and to contrast those with purely hypothetical risks that have never materialized over the course of American history. And even in the unlikely event that Congress tomorrow was to try to start taking cabinet departments that have been around for a long time and to convert them wholesale into multi-member agencies, which they have never tried to do before. But even if they tried to do that, of course, that would be subject to a presidential.
Well, I think if there's one thing history shows is that we can't anticipate what might happen, and so we might be able to predict what is likely to happen in the very short term, but we don't know. I mean, if we decide this case in your favor now, we don't know what a Congress in 15 or 20 or 30 years might do. We might be able to predict what's likely in the short term. So, I mean, this is going to have longer term implications.
So absolutely, but let me make 2 points on that. First, there is currently no constraint there's currently no case that has ever held that Congress cannot give for-cause removal protections to principal officers serving to a single layer of for-cause removal protection for principal officers serving on a multi-member commission. And nevertheless, notwithstanding the absence of any such precedent throughout American history, we have not seen an epidemic of these problems. In fact, we haven't seen this problem materializing at all. But let me make one other point about the real-world danger that is imminent right now that we know will happen. And that is that if petitioners get their way, everything is on the chopping block. And we're not just talking about the FTC. Opposing counsel said we're not challenging right now the Federal Reserve. We're not challenging Article I courts, but there is absolutely no principled basis for carving those very important institutions out of their rule.
Well, you're right that the Solicitor General was pressed quite legitimately about things like the tax court and the claims court, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know that you can make the argument that the logic of his argument is going to cause these allegedly revolutionary results without being prepared to explain more concretely than you have the limits of your own argument. I mean, I could go down the list with you of the cabinet officers and ask you whether you think they could be headed by a multi-member commission whose members are not subject to at-will removal by the president. Shall we do that? How about Veterans Affairs?
Theoretically, this would change
Interior,
everything.
Labor,
like
EPA, Commerce, Education, what am I missing?
Agriculture.
I mean,
Agriculture.
it'll definitely stop or start stuff for Donald Trump, but
there was a
down the line, it's going to...
Yes, so I don't want to pretend to greater certainty than I have about the full gamut of statutory authorities vested in all those other departments. I will say that based on a very quick preliminary analysis, it appeared to us that the vast majority of executive departments wield at least some of the conclusive and preclusive authorities that this court has recognized in the past, including criminal investigative and prosecutorial authorities and also authorities implicating national security and foreign relations. Now, that is not to say, Justice Alito, I think you're absolutely right to say for a lot of those, you could probably take those out, and at that point there's going to be a fair question about whether Congress and the President acting together could determine at some point that there is a need for a multi-member body of experts to preside over certain government functions. And what I would say is I don't think that you should categorically rule out that possibility as a matter of constitutional law. And I can't sit here today and tell you that there's a distinction of constitutional proportions, for example, between the Department of Labor and the National Labor Relations Board.
Well, how about the post office at the time of Myers? How does your exclusive and preclusive theory account for Myers? How can it be that the postmaster at that time exercised exclusive Article II power, but a Federal Trade Commissioner does not?
So I would say three things about that. First, the conclusive and preclusive standard does not have to be the sole and exclusive limiting factor. Second, there is a provision that Justice Barrett referred to in the colloquy with opposing counsel about the take care clause, and it is conceivable that at least in some circumstances, the take care clause might itself, not always, but sometimes, impose a conclusive and preclusive standard, for example, with respect to officers like the postmaster and Myers who are deemed to to possess purely executive functions, as this court unanimously in Humphrey's Executor, and then again in Weiner unanimously characterized the functions of the postmaster and Myers as purely and obviously just executive.
Yeah,
so
a little bit. Sorry, my chart's kind of working.
Yeah, when you answered Justice Alito about the agencies exercising investigative power, and thus there would be a question whether they could be made independent multi-member commissions, don't a lot of the now independent agencies also exercise that kind of investigative power? At least from my experience, it's very hard to get into the weeds of this particular powers exercised by the FTC and distinguish it from some of the powers exercised by some of the other cabinet agencies that we traditionally think of as executive, or the FCC or the SEC.
Kind of bottomed out.
All of those.
And then again, value got a little bit of life breathed into it, but
the FERC, NLRB, when you get into them all. So what's your answer to that?
So my answer is the criminal investigative authority is different, and certainly a lot of these agencies have civil investigative authority, including the FTC. As we understand this court's precedent just from last term in Trump v. United States, criminal investigations and prosecutions are in a different category, at least as a general matter. And if the logical import of that analysis is that there are certain functions that cannot be wielded even by traditional independent agencies, then so be it. That's the law of the land.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. I understand conclusive and preclusive entirely as we used it. When you're speaking about executive power, can the president control what's done in his departments? I get that. And a criminal prosecution is a good example. I do not understand it as you use it. Why isn't it just as conclusive and preclusive to decide whether to charges under the FTCA Act
civil
against somebody? Civil versus criminal. It's a conclusive and preclusive decision about enforcement decision of the power of the federal government against individuals across the country.
So there's a legal answer and there's an historical answer, and they might blend, Justice Gorsuch. And the legal answer is that we don't have any controlling authority that has ever held that civil enforcement as a categorical matter is the kind of thing that can never be vested in a multi-member agency that enjoys a modicum of insulation from political pressure. And we know that, for example, from this court's unanimous decision in Humphrey's Executor, where you had that kind of civil enforcement taking place, and the unanimous court, including all four justices from Myers, said that's okay. And the kind of civil enforcement that was going on there, you had complaints being issued, you had cease and desist orders.
Cease and desist orders, but not lawsuits in court. They had to go to court.
I'll give you a second. Tell me the real issue.
I'm just curious, though.
Netflix.
Fine, accept your point. It's a good point about Humphreys. But why isn't that conclusive and preclusive decision whether to use the federal government's full power in a prosecution where you can seek fines and incur all of the penalties that are associated with violating the FTC Act?
So I think part of the answer is historical and part of the answer is functional. And on the historical part, we have had all kinds of civil enforcement of federal statutes taking place, including just private statutes that authorize private attorney generals, as this court has recognized in many, many cases. So you have a long, long history and tradition of private actors wielding, kind of enforcing civilly federal statutes. Now, I take the point that civil enforcement on behalf of the government of the United States—
That's not the executive power, but criminal actions is the executive power.
Yeah, I would not say that—
That's what you're asking us to—
No, I would not put it that way. I would not say it's not executive. And in fact, in Seala law—
So it is executive?
Yeah, in Seala law, this court said it's not only executive, it's quintessentially executive. And that's okay, because agencies like the FTC also engage in adjudicative activities, and that would be deemed quintessentially judicial, and nevertheless, they're not subject to plenary removal on the part of the judiciary. They engage in rulemaking that could be considered quintessentially legislative, and nevertheless, they're not subject to plenary control on the part of the legislature. The issue is not whether it's executive in some sense. The issue is whether it's constitutionally committed to the president's sole and exclusive discretion, and as a matter of history and precedent, we haven't gotten there yet.
So even some quintessentially executive functions, in your view, are not vested in the President of the United States?
Yeah, I would not say that. I would not put it in this. I would not say that they're not. Yes, I would say they're not.
You have to say yes to that based on what you've just
They're not constitutionally committed to the person of the president and to his sole and exclusive discretion.
Didn't we suggest as much in Humphreys? I mean, didn't we have some lines in Humphreys that say, to the extent that it exercises any executive function as distinguished from executive power in the constitutional sense, it does so to discharge it does so in the discharge and effectuation of its quasi-legislative or quasi-judicial powers. So I thought that in Humphreys we recognized this idea that you could have an agency that's exercising legislative or judicial powers still engaging in some executive function, and that doesn't make it an executive agency.
That is exactly right. And on top of that, we have a lot of agencies over a long period of time engaging in all manner of civil enforcement of federal statutes, and yet we do not have a single example of any case from this court in more than 2 centuries that has ever held that a single layer of for-cause removal protection cannot apply to a principal officer of an agency wielding that kind of civil enforcement function.
And so I think that's like your real point. In other words, you're not asking for some sort of conclusive or preclusive rule. That's not your burden in this situation. You are just saying that the way the law has been interpreted by the court here, the existence of Humphreys and Congress's reliance on these kinds of multi-member agencies for something like 90 years plus, that's the background rule. And so now it's up to the government and the Solicitor General to come in to suggest that there's a constitutional problem with that.
That is absolutely right.
Absolutely right. So yeah, the problem with Netflix is that they would have a monopoly on children's content. So now think about WB, Warner Bros. They're the ones that do the other, because Netflix already has a dominating like market share of like child content. So now think about all of the kids' movies, all of the kids' shows. It would pretty much be in the hands of Netflix. So that's one of the issues people keep bringing up. I might put this back on later here, but we are getting Euro close. I hope you did some push-ups. I hope you're feeling good. It's a slow day. I mean, last week, though, remember, we've only went straight down today, but it's very small. The Russell's climbing back up. Value started to get a bit. The VIX is on the high right now, oddly enough. Yeah. I guess you'll have, like, Disney. Disney would be the only one left. So it'd be like, there's a couple of them, but yeah, I think over 50% of children's content would be in the hands of Netflix if the deal was allowed to go through. AWS partnering with BlackRock to deliver Aladdin on AWS's cloud infrastructure. But yeah, so the VIX is going up right now. Either we're about to dump or the VIX is going to, or the market's going to bottom out. Amazonian. Well, yeah, dude, it's super slow. I mean, last week it was 7 hours to nowhere, but considering we have the Fed this week, you think it'd be a little more active. But yeah, 17 million in 2 hours. Ugh. You're doing like 8 million an hour, and that's probably most of it in the start. Yeah, it'd be Disney again. Disney and Nickelodeon. I don't think Nickelodeon's as big, but I think it's like 50 or 60% of the content would be in the hands of Netflix. So that's like one of the major. That's like I think the only concern, realistically, because like I don't think like Netflix doesn't have a big share of the movies and everything else, and like Netflix has a lot of old content. They do their own stuff, but. Yeah, and then $5 billion is a big breakup fee, but that's like, what, 2 movies? So, or they walk away with, now Netflix has quite the library, and then they would have the, that would actually break Netflix into the movie industry. Because again, remember Warner Bros. I could go over the what's it called? The box office numbers. All the Bitcoin liquidation is slowing down the volatility. I don't think so. Not as much. I mean, lately it was just the volatility really just came from some of the repo stuff the last couple of weeks, and then that kind of rough November there and some of the momentum dying. But I mean, the Bitcoin was bad. I still don't think we know what happened to Bitcoin, because I mean, it's still like what 89, 90,000, which isn't too bad, but I mean, that was pretty ugly, and that came out of nowhere. It did correlate with the funding pressure, but yeah, I don't know what that was. And I do still think, I kind of think somebody blew up, and maybe they've kept it quiet to kind of remedy it, or otherwise we'll find out Find out soon on the next episode of The Stock Market Hates You. But then M2 is on the climb. I don't know if you guys saw that. So the money supply is still going up. I mean, there should be theoretically an ample amount of liquidity. That's why the last couple weeks when it kind of died down, it was a little odd. Does this add Netflix in an advantage position? I think so. I think it would be very good for Netflix. I think this would help them, again, for the movies, and then have like a portion of like, they would have like content that they didn't have before. And like there's some good content that people were going everywhere but Netflix for. So I do think it would give them a stronger base. And then even in the long run though, that kids content, that's just money, man. Like, do you know how many kids, like how many parents use Netflix? I'm telling you, like the Netflix kids, you got to watch what you're putting on there, of course, but yeah, they already have a shit ton. So I do think that would get that would be very incentivized with anything else. I don't know the Paramount content they provide as much, but it would be good. But then Warner Bros. That's the thing with Paramount. That's the good one. So Netflix would essentially become Warner Bros. WB. So let me show you the box office. Oh shit, Warner Bros. Doesn't have anything in the top 10 right now? They usually do. Wait, is Warner's Universal, right? Or am I tripping? Your kids watch old Tom and Jerry and Mickey Mouse? Hey, bro, I fuck with Tom and Jerry. That was my favorite. Dude, the box office kind of been kind of slow. I think Zootopia is the number one. It really is, man. The movie company, like, it runs deep, man. All of, like, who owns what, and then there's, like, some could even have the same names, and then they don't even, like, they don't necessarily, like, they're not part of the company. Comcast is Universal. It used to be Warner Brothers Universal, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that's what I was saying. Five Nights at Freddy's. I have no idea what that is. Zootopia already fell from number one, at least over the weekend. Wicked. Honestly, I'm surprised because usually remember last time I showed you at Warner Bros. Right here, one battle after another. Because usually if there's no like fucking Disney title in the top spot, it's usually Warner Bros. Like Warner Bros. Has some great movies. Then Universal as well too, but I did think that was Warner Bros. I guess it's not. Yeah, bro, movie theater's been slow. You saw Bluey? Yeah, Bluey is. My niece likes Bluey a lot. Supreme Court conservatives appear sympathetic towards Trump's move to fire Federal Trade Commission member. Yeah, that's what we were just listening to. Now you're getting some headlines. You don't remember the last time you went to the movies? It sucks because I love the movies, bro. I'm a big fan of movie theaters. You know that? Like, I just like chilling, and if I have a good movie, I'm just a movie guy, unfortunately. But yeah, it hasn't been, I don't know, it hasn't been like hype as much. My last one was the one I told you guys about, the Magic movie. But other than that, I don't remember the one I went before, but I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Just you bring your own candy. That's all. If I could give you any advice, dog, bring your own candy. Smuggle that shit in. I'll be wearing hella baggy shit. That's all. You know, you're going to probably spend $8 for a drink, but other than that, you know, it's candy, $1, $2, habibi. Not bad. They'll tax you, though. WB is where Animaniacs is. Oh, I remember Animaniacs. I do. And then, Pinky in the Brain. That shit went hard. I'm Pinky, I think. I'm the weird one. But yeah, Pinky and the Brain. We were allowed to watch that. Argentina to let banks offer crypto in 2026. But yeah, I think it's more, I think Netflix wants Warner Bros. To break into the movie scene And then on the back end to start profiting, I think it would be all the kids' content. Let me see if I can find the list. Yeah, bro, like Minecraft, Harry Potter, Beetlejuice, Wizard of Oz, all the Tim Burton movies, Polar Express, Wonka. Yeah, bro, Lego, Paddington. I fuck with Paddington. Happy Feet, because they'll hella pay. They'll hella pay for. They had Paddington and Happy Feet on Netflix before, but that means they were paying for it. Dude, that's crazy though. Space Jam is Warner Bros. Oh, my bad. I had a message. Lego, we have to do that. Cinderella story, dog. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, bro. There's content, dog. The kids content and like all of these, like these are classics. You would think these are all Disney, bro. But like there's some really, really good. Oh, Elf? Stop it. I didn't know they had Elf. So that's what I'm saying. Some of them they even partner though too. And then the classic TV, I don't know if this transfers over too. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what assets they're gonna get or not. But Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Friends, Full House, Gilmore Girls, a lot of these are already on Netflix. That's what I'm saying. So I think it would get them a little bit more. Gilligan's Island, no, Gilligan's Long Term. CERML, U.S. Greenland Committee, U.S. and Greenland look forward to building on momentum. That's just the algos tying in CERML, but you are getting a headline. Yeah, CERML's going up on that. So again, Greenland Joint Committee statement that they're looking forward to building momentum in years ahead. I know Netflix, that's the crazy part, because you're right. Netflix has been trying to monopolize. And like, I don't think it's a secret. That's why this deal would it would push them a little bit over the edge, but again, I don't know, we're biased. We own Netflix, so I think it'd be good. And I don't know, I kind of trust Netflix, but then you can't trust anybody with a monopoly. Because like, Netflix will offend everybody. Netflix will put out fucking creepy, weird content, and then they'll go and fucking give Dave Chappelle 3 specials. Right? Like the Netflix has been uncancelable if you really think about it. So it's like, you wouldn't want to give them all the power in certain content, but then again, I think their goal is to monopolize and have as many people as possible. Not to mention the foreign stuff too. That was the other one. Gilmore Girls is a staple in the Bergdorf household. I know Gilmore Girls. My sisters used to watch it when I was growing up until they got beat. But then my girl, she went when it came on Netflix, bro. I think a lot of your guys' significant others went through it. The Gilmore Girls was a wave, low-key, like a year ago. Yeah, Dave Chappelle. Well, Netflix does it, and dude, Netflix puts out like Jesus movies. They put out they put out everything. It's kind of clear, like Netflix does have like a social agenda, and they will do a lot of propaganda. But like, they also kind of try to have something for every audience. Like, I don't think they're just one way, where they're like trying to, they don't pigeonhole themselves. That's why I kind of like it. I think everybody has had something they like on Netflix and something they've been offended by on Netflix. Yeah, try to make some money, son. Netflix said, we got everything you need, son. You want to get offended? You want social justice? What you want? You want Jesus? We got it all. $24.99 a month. Just kidding. Price raise, $24.99 a month. What? Y'all fucked it up, man. Y'all don't remember when Netflix was like $1.50? Y'all don't remember. You know, Netflix used to even tell you to share the password. I had the same, bro. I was sharing my Netflix, dog. I swear to you, from literally college till like maybe 6-7 years after college, I still had the same Netflix with me and my roommate from college. It was ridiculous. And then no. Ooh. But that made him a lot of money. So good thing we bought the stock. Propaganda flicks. I remember the mail one. We did that back in the day too. My mom was telling me yesterday. My mom was saying my mom had a client, like when she did dialysis. She worked in a dialysis thing when she was a nurse, and she said there was this one guy who was like he loved her, and he died unfortunately, but like he would always tell her to invest, and he told her to buy Netflix when it was still a penny stock. She said, I guess I should have listened, because my mom asked me about the deal too. My mom asked me what I think about it, and I told her my mom, it kind of blew her mind. I was explaining to her when I bought Netflix, both back in the day and then even recently. But she said, he told me, she said it was I think it was pennies. He would remind me every day, but I said it's gambling. That is, Netflix is one of the best performers. Like from inception to like how successful it's been. It's crazy. I saw the old founder, because you know the founder of Netflix, I think he owns some of the stock, but he's no longer like part of the management anymore. But he was talking about how like back in the day, they wanted to buy the domain, and he said $50,000 was too much to spend. And then now he tweeted about buying, the company buying Warner Bros. For what, 50 or 78 billion? It's crazy. You know, Netflix wanted to be called Replay. So if that guy bought the domain, it would have been called replay.com. That was the intended name for Netflix, and then they settled on Netflix. So yeah, I don't know. There's another reality. There's another timeline where Netflix, you're like, yo, can I borrow your Replay account? Paramount bidding one. It might be, remember on Friday, because WB went up. But remember on Friday, they said they wanted to take a deal directly to shareholders. So I do think that might be it. But I'm pretty sure they accepted a deal finally. I don't know if they'll back out. I don't know if, I haven't read it, to be honest. I don't know if there's I'm assuming it's one way. I think Netflix is the only one who pays if they back out, but there might be I don't think there's a go shop provision, and then if there's not, there might be a fee if WBD tries to back out. Because it seems like, I think it's going to happen. And then the fact that Jared Kushner is on the fucking funding side of it, I think Trump is acting like it's not going to approve, but I think it is. Snatch Spotify? No, Spotify would never sell. I like the Spotify, their story, but no, Spotify, that would be insane. I think the only Spotify would be great with movies and shows, but then it's a hard business to get into, and then it's a lot of money. Like, you guys don't remember, like, the whole debate we would always have with Netflix was like how they're burning money. I don't know. This was like maybe a few years ago, maybe like right before 2020, like 2019, and then a little bit after 2020. Like when we bought it on the dip, because dude, they burn a lot of money, and now thankfully they've grown, and they've actually turned out to be good investments. But like, making movies is super fucking expensive, and then that's what they started doing, and then like buying them too, because now they just promote the audience. Like, people will sell their movies to Netflix cheap just because it'll get it on there, and then you guys know what they do, right? I told you this a couple weeks ago. So like, if a movie is gonna be released, like a new one, they license it to Netflix for dirt cheap. It's advertising. So like, have you ever seen a movie or like a new series, like an old series, come out on Netflix, and then a month or two later a new version of that movie comes out, or the sequel or whatever? That's what they do. But now you can't do what, like how Netflix started as well. They used to get all these licensing deals for cheap as fuck. So now you can't get that anymore. Because like back in the day, bro, like there was a point where Warner and all these companies, they were literally selling, the content was dead. There wasn't like a reason for it. So they did like 5-10 year deals with Netflix, and Netflix was the only one paying them for this old content. But now that Netflix has proven that model, licensing fees have fucking 10x pretty much. And now no one's gonna license it unless they want to advertise. So it'd be hard to make a competitor right now. I mean, you saw all of the streaming companies. I think the one streaming company nobody talks about, I just don't know if they make that much money off of it, it's Amazon. Have you guys ever seen the Amazon video? It literally has everything. And then, yeah, SPY's coming back down here. The VIX is doing the high again. It didn't bottom or top out on the last little VIX move. Google's coming down. Again, I think if Microsoft drops, that's where it gets a little bit uglier. But, yeah, it's holding. Burden out. It is, yeah. Amazon is just the, it's like it's not a studio. They have a couple Amazon studio films, but they do middleman a lot of it. But I think Amazon that has everything. That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe Spotify could do something like that. But yeah, dude, there's so many fucking movies and films on Amazon, but I just don't know how much they make. Like, you don't pay. It's like part of your Prime membership, so like you don't subscribe to it. But yeah, Amazon is I want to say it's the perfect platform for content, or like any like movies, shows, all of it. Oh, they do have Reacher. Oh, I didn't even get to watch Fallout. Isn't that Amazon Studios? I forgot about it. ISRG, the robot plays all flipped. And then again, Sermo got a bid on the Greenland comments. Everything is coming back down. China's doing solid, or at least Baidu is. No, they all faded. K-Web's down. Kind of like a hostile takeover, but they're just trying. I mean, the problem with that deal, man, that's why like I always make fun of the WBD one, because like, dude, the like Sherry Redstone and all these motherfuckers, bro, they have been trying to sell this thing forever, and then anytime they get a deal and like a good offer, they kept raising it. Like, they weren't serious sellers. Like, it's like real estate. You ever like knock on someone's door, you talk to someone and you're like, you want to sell your house? They're like, no. And you're like, are you sure? What price? They're like, give me $1 million. And then you're like, okay, I'll give you $1 million. And then they're like, $2 million. That's literally the story of WBD. So I'm sure that they're going to try to offer something higher. But like I'm saying, I do think it's kind of a done deal at this point, even if they try to take it to shareholders. Because if you get the cash payout and you get shares that convert to Netflix, I don't think that's a bad deal. I'm telling you, like, Netflix is a great company, and I think it would even monetize a lot of WBD's assets a lot better. So I don't know, it's kind of attractive even for shareholders. You're getting a massive premium, and then I think don't you get like 0.25 in shares or something? Something like that. 000. What's that? That sounds familiar, but I don't know off top. Oh, I think, didn't you guys tell me about that? Isn't that like a murder mystery? Yeah, YouTube and Google. Google's never, I don't think they've ever made a movie though. Like, Amazon's made a couple. But yeah, YouTube's a great platform there. Not just like licensing and YouTube TV. That thing actually goes hard. Is Nike dropping because of the restructuring or the earnings? I think it's all industry-wide today. Because again, a lot of those names did good not too long ago. I mean, again, it was just at 60 something. But I think the latest like move, not just like today, but this is all off the what's it called? Off of the earnings. Still, because it's still kind of lagging. Remember, it had that big jump on the turnaround plan. People liked it, but then it wasn't necessarily the fastest pace. And then people worried about some of the headwinds coming into next year with trade and all of that, the inflation, the tariffs. I think the new guy is part of it too, but I think the market has viewed some of the restructuring stuff more positively. Because didn't they brought one of those other guys back who was part of it when Netflix was actually Nike was really killing it. They're ready. All right, man, you did that. Let's see what happens with the VIX. I hate my E-Trade today. So yeah, my thing is it's just stopping. Some of them will load up, but I gotta refresh it. Microsoft Azure down detector. As I was saying, when my E-Trade went down, I checked, but a couple of things are going out. I love how normal it is for us. Have you guys noticed? Have you noticed how often we get a fucking the damn outages now? I feel like it's became normal. It's not even, it don't even surprise the people. Where's Marvel? I still got clap from that. Yeah, Oracle and Broadcom, the premiums went up, but they all chilled out with the market. I mean, hey, as long as this stays one direction, I sadly think that'll be better, because then Sermal's going again. So again, you had the Greenland comments earlier, and that's starting to run off of it. And we had what? Didn't you have 2 weeks ago, another week ago, you had more of the minerals deals? The oceans, white with snow. AWS, what? Merry Christmas. Oh, dude, and legal. I love you. I did not get my massage this weekend. I thought I would, but I didn't. So thank you. You got me prepaid on one. You were a blessing, dog. feel like you've been guiding me towards the spa, but I didn't go. Yeah, it's been tough, dude. It's tough. I did more Christmas stuff, man. A lot of volunteering. I like the Christmas thing. Is it tonight or tomorrow? What? The massage? I guess I get one today. My shit is so laggy. At least E-Trade. Did Tesla have bad numbers? I don't think so. Was it delivery day, or I feel like it would have been hyped up more. Spa guidance. God bless America and Merry Chrism. Woo! It's a beautiful day, Chad. It's a beautiful day. ASML to reappoint Hisham Masad as second CEO for second term. Yeah, Tesla. That was a Morgan Stanley downgrade on Tesla. They got to equal weight by Morgan Stanley, citing slower EV adoption and a choppy 12-month outlook. But then they raised the price target. They just lowered the weighting. Warbead pump piece. Where's our other boy? What's his name? The Essor Luxottica. Because I want to see, man. I think a lot of people are both hating and loving the Meta glasses. People love the glasses who get them, but then people are starting to get like pissed off by how many people are just like recording in public. Netflix's biggest competitor on viewership isn't of the streamers. They massively outstream them. Their competition is YouTube. So Google, your last meeting there, that's who they're focusing on. Oh, interesting. You work there? I like it. You got the little light on. It is, but like still, some people don't know what it is. But like, yeah, there has been a little bit of public outrage from I mean, again, even if you're in public, like, you can't stop anybody from recording you. But yeah, they are. But like, people are getting pissed because like what's happening is like people are just getting put in clips, so then it goes viral. But like, you could just they're I've seen like 4 or 5 follow-ups, and they're like, I was in the Meta video. I didn't do this. I don't know why. Please take it down. So yeah, but other than that though, the Ray-Bans maker, those have been very popular. Netflix said their biggest competitor was TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. That is very fascinating. Merry Chrism drops to... Oh, wait, does it? Oh, shit. Dude, I think you're right. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh, bro. You do... I think you get your Christmas song today at midnight. So you have to wait till tomorrow morning. Is it released? Wait, is it already out? It says release date December 8th. Oh my gosh. So yeah, wait, is it? I think if you find it. No, I think it comes out at midnight. I don't know, I'd have to see. Spotify. Spotification. Kind of fuck previous. Yeah, because people are they hating a little bit on it, bro. Not anybody wearing Ray-Bans. They're gonna think you're filming. It's not on Spotify yet. Yeah, so it comes out tonight. Wow. So get ready, man. Get ready. Woo! I'm excited. I think it'll be on everywhere. I hope. We'll see. Last time it was a little difficult, but I hope that every time, though, it doesn't, after like a little bit of months after a release, it'll fuck up the YouTube thing. Well, either way, you get your Christmas song. I didn't realize it is Monday, so tomorrow's Tuesday. I think technically in some places it might be out. Google tells advertisers it will bring ads to Gemini. Dude, I saw how they're going to make money off of it and how it works. Ready and excited for another year in the long term. Shout out the vets and God be the glory. Amen. For real, bro. And God bless you, bro. Thank you to all of y'all who really lived in it this year, man. Thank you for not getting banned. Thank you for getting a long term. For being a beacon. They don't feel me, dog. Yeah, it'll be on Spotify. But I don't know how I hit it, dude. The other day I was on Google and I was looking up like vitamins. And dude, there's like, let me see. But there was like it was on the Gemini. Where is it? Oh, let me show you. But it gives you like an AI search option now. So let me show you. Yeah, AI mode. Have you seen this? So look. This is how, right? Because remember I was telling you, like, Gemini is powerful, but the problem is like it could theoretically change their whole entire business model. You know, like right now, you know, Google makes a lot of money. You go on Google, you search something, and then you start clicking on things. So a lot of people, especially the younger generation, they AI stuff now. Even, dude, I even catch myself doing it where like I don't really search things as much anymore. I'll just ask the AI a question and then the AI will give you an answer. So that's why it's like, that's kind of the threat to Google, even if they created their own, because then are you going to just fucking cannibalize the whole pay-to-click model? So they have this thing called AI mode, and that's now how they're mixing in both of it. Do you see it? So that's what it is. So I was looking up a vitamin, wormwood. You know wormwood? It's not just the demon in the book. It's a vitamin thing. Apparently it's in absinthe too. But like, so you hit AI mode, and so when you go on search, this is normal search, right? And then you go AI mode. It gives you like the AI answer, but then, oh wait, where did they fucking, yeah, and then you'll get the sites, and then that's how they're gonna fucking start advertising and still get the clicks and the money. Does that make sense? I think it's pretty fascinating because I didn't realize, I saw it, I was like, what the fuck is AI mode? And then it pretty much combines search and chat GPT all in one. You're searching and chat, and it worked. It worked pretty well. Reddit's popping up a little bit. I think it is more direct. I mean, especially with, you know, YouTube, or not YouTube, Google. And search has changed a little bit. I mean, it is, you only get what's, you know, SEO'd and whatever has the products, but it's a nice little mix. They're showing you products, the information, and then they're giving you all of it. Wormwood saved your life? No way. So yeah, you still get the traffic, and then they still have the opportunity to keep people on there and get them clicking, and then advertisers. And now, because again, they just said they're going to do advertisers on there. This is exactly how they're going to do it. Well, if it doesn't work, it would shoot them in the foot. You know, if this just starts leading into less ads, less clicking, and everyone's using it, but now they're just talking to Gemini. But I think it's going to work because it was very effective. I don't know. Like, I feel like the last couple years, you know, just straight Google searching hasn't been the same. Because, like, even now, you search something on Google, bro, it just shows you fucking the propaganda. Like, that's what I was saying. I was trying to find, like, the old Ronald Reagan videos, and you type in anything, like, related to the concept, and if it applies to something that's happened, like, you type in drug boat, or war on drugs, all the first fucking 10 pages are all just what's going on now. It's not it doesn't necessarily show you what you want. But then, you could ask AI very specific questions, and now this is where you're getting the answer as well as like links to click on. Then you're clicking on the links, you're getting back and keeping you within the stock market live. Oh, the ecosystem. Shock market live. But yeah, I got Wormwood. You know what else I realized though? Sprouts. So that's the downside, is that any of these like vitamins you see on like TikTok, or if you see them on Sermal's still going up. If you see them on like Amazon or something, I just go to Sprouts. It's like a little bit more expensive, but it has everything. Literally everything. I got magnesium, I got all of it. Anything I talk about, I go there. They don't have peptides though. They do not have peptides. 9:13 in the morning's picking up, Chatadunia. Peace guy's going up. I need to go pee. Follow me on Instagram at Detroit and Fraternity. Real Call News on Twitter. You guys might have to tell me about Wormwood. Yo, City dumping a little bit. It's weird, the names that lag and don't. But yeah, City's starting to drop. Remember, banks were pretty strong today. SPY is still near the low. All right. Well, let's go back to the Supreme Court thing for your bathroom break. I think it's the
you distinguish the independent agencies from the traditional executive agencies on the earlier questions.
Supreme Court.
I'll just leave that. You said you agree with... I think you said you agree with all the court's precedents.
Yes.
That includes everything in Myers.
We agree with the holding of Myers.
Do you agree with the opinion in Myers?
No, and a lot of the reasoning in Myers went too far, and that was part of what the court decided in Humphreys.
On the text of Article 2, we haven't talked a lot about the theory by which you get to the other side's position from the text. The first 15 words, the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. For the president to exercise that power, he needs subordinates. For him to, and he needs to be able to supervise and direct the subordinates, and to supervise and direct, he must be able to remove those officers at will. This is the theory. Otherwise, and this is what I want to get your answer to, otherwise a subordinate could ignore the president's supervision and direction without fear, and the president could do nothing about it. You agree that's the implication of your theory, correct?
That the subordinate could disregard the president's instruction, and that in some circumstances the president could do nothing about it. Yes, in some circumstances, but not under the FTC Act in the modern era of traditional independent agencies. If there was anything like malfeasance, if there was neglect of duty, so that would be associated with law breaking, as Professor Manners discusses in her amicus brief on the INM standard.
But generally, if the president says, I wish you'd pursue a more aggressive enforcement policy, and the head of the agency says, I'm not going to do that, there's nothing the president can do about that, right?
If it's just a matter of enforcement priority, that's right. And
or I would want you to issue a new rule in a particular way that does a particular thing, because I think as president it would be better for the American people, and the agency head says, I disagree with that, I'm not going to do that. You agree that that's okay under your theory?
That is okay under our theory. That's the judgment of Congress and the president, and as was pointed out in Ray Aiken, and as we've explained in our brief, this court's precedents don't stand for the proposition, Justice Kavanaugh, that we have to have those arrangements. They just stand for the proposition that the people's elected representatives in Congress and their democratically elected president in appropriate circumstances can come together and decide that vital interests of the American people, including preservation of liberty, and I don't think we should forget about that, including that can be effectuated by having these multi-member commissions.
Two real-world questions. You've mentioned many times you can just go to Congress to fix this. Well, once the power is taken away from the president, it's very hard to get it back in the legislative process. Kind of the flip side of what we were talking about in the tariffs case, because the Congress. The real world of this is the independent agencies shift power from the presidency to the Congress. Everyone recognizes that Congress has more control over the independent agencies than they do over the executive agencies. So Congress doesn't want to.
Oh, I think Urban was moving. Then Google's on the low. I mean, they were just talking about the ad thing. I'm sorry for E-Trade. It'll show one or two candles and then just stops. I think the SPY has been working, no? Yeah, kind of. I might have to keep up TD. That just sucks. You're back to Mondays pretty much open. Google is flushing. The yen stopped moving. I finally saw, now there's finally videos of it. Because remember I was telling you, I was like, bro, last time there was a big ass earthquake, there was videos everywhere. But yeah, there is a couple. So yeah, this was this morning. They're insane in Japan. The buildings are pretty strong though. In Cali, they were just all falling. Yeah, bro, look at that, don't stop. Yeah, like 11:15 local time. Terrifying. Dude, what's it called? The last time there was an earthquake, my house felt like paper. I had no like. But yeah, dude, we're chilling. Google's still coming down again. I think if Microsoft, Deer faded, that was other value ones. I think some of the value names are coming down. And then Surma went up on the Greenland thing. Who else was there? WVE. And then GPCR. That chilled out finally. Rock solid. Yeah, bro, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of no earthquake. And then TAP, bro. That's amazing. I can't believe it, you guys. You don't see it? It sold off more on fucking ex-dividend, where you still could have got the dividend. So now that ex-dividend's passed, it's already going up. But I'm so down with that. It's actually a very nice move. This is around where I got it. But now that means we got the dividend locked in. You get your payout, and oh, I didn't even get to show you guys. Are you ready for what I'm excited about? See, this is what sucks though, because like, and I'm glad though we did pick up a fizzer. We got a little bit of growth there, but oh, let me show you what I'm excited about. Everybody, long-term body. We need to hear about UNH in the government case, dude. That whole like what they're being investigated for, we still haven't necessarily heard. Yeah, I want to. Yeah, Disney's still going back to 107. So are you guys ready for this? Are you ready for this? This is amazing. Because I didn't expect this. I think it's because it's small and compounding. So on the small one, which is the big account now, are you ready for this? 2024, our dividend was at $531 a year, right? That was like just under the 2 deposits. Okay. 2025, you know, this whole year we've gotten $633 this year in dividends. So we got to save 12 months of $300. But then that means we also got 2 extra deposits straight from divvies. Okay, are you ready for this though? I didn't expect this to happen. So coming into next year, bro, our divvies are gonna be at 715. Hold on. So but that's why I hate it, because then I'm like, oh, I want to get 4 deposits or 3. We need $900 to get to 3. Because then that means we get an extra quarter of deposits all on divvies. But yeah, so again, we made a couple of divvy purchases. And then I think it's just all the compounding now. I think after a few years of this now, and then adding and adding and adding, I did not think we'd get. I thought this year was going to be a little more stable because we didn't really focus on dividends too heavily. I mean, even though TAP was one of the divvy ones. But yeah, man, this got me excited. I don't know what it would take. We could do the math like we do at the end of the year and try to calculate it, but yeah, so coming into it though, we're going to be not well over, but a little bit over 2 deposits. So the divvies are still growing. It's sad because if the big account, we would have been on the same pace. I think the big account had a little bit more, but we turned it to real estate. But yeah, man, some divvies. I like it. Yeah, TAP is good. Yeah, you have to buy right before ex-dividend day. But that's why I think Friday was the 4th, was it? But I remember it was down on that day where you could have bought it and still got the dividend. The day after I bought it, the day after the video, you still could have got it and got there. But I was like, it's going to go down 40, 50 cents. But then it went down a little bit more while the dividend was still paying, and then it fucking ripped. So I'm surprised. But hopefully that stacks up well. Either way, I think that is a long term. You'll be able to get into the house without selling the long term. That's even better, man. That's even better. I like all of it. The long term is beautiful, man. And that's it. And I just don't fight the temptation, you guys. Fight the temptation. You know, I don't know. Sometimes life happens and you're going to be like, I should sell my long term and gamble it. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's why, too, you got to, like, I think it happens every year, but I think just another reminder, bro, just separate the damn accounts. Because that's usually what happens, is that one day you're going to see all that money in the account. And then you don't know how, you want to know how I know? Because when we sold the big long term to get the farm, how many of you were like, yo, just put it into an option. Double it up. We could double it up. Because that, you are going to get that idea. You guys know that, right? And then that's why, too, you have a lot of cash. You're not putting it to work. One day, you're going to see all the people going crazy. You're going to see all the volatility and be like, what if I just double it up real quick? So, yeah, just be careful. And then you'll be like, so like a leap is like a long term, right? No, it's not. It's not. It is not, my brother. Everybody. House, former big long-term farm term. Yeah, Philip Morris, that was one of those value names that came up again. Deer faded. Just watch Microsoft. I think Microsoft, if that went down today, would be a lot uglier, but it's not that bad right now. A trio of big banks met with senators this week to discuss crypto legislation, market structure. Citi, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo. I think the banks have been on a quiet breakout. That's what we talked about this morning. Again, banks, commodities, the small cap momentum, and SPY is going lower. Sucks, bro. You guys don't remember? We were so close to breaking out of Chop City. You did get above here, but we had like 1 or 2 more levels. But I don't think you're going to start off like that. Friday was good, though. A future house account, FHA. I like it. I like it. Even look into the FHA. A lot of you guys got a good reminder of that last week. You had to sell it for farm equipment. Was it like emergency? So try to keep it there. I like investing though into a business. So that one's kind of borderline. If you can, like I always said, try to exhaust every avenue you can before tapping the long term. The idea is put it towards something that will keep growing, because I didn't want to sell our long term, but it's in a house. It has equity that's still working and now at a much bigger rate, but you want to try to exhaust because don't they give good ass credit on farm equipment? I was looking, man, they'll give me 0 interest. They'll give me a bunch of fucking loans if I buy a fucking $50,000 tractor. They love the farmers. All right, man. VIX on the high, SPY going through the low. Again, it's been slower. Even the volume, I want to say the volume's like half or 40% of what you would really be at right now, or 60%. But yeah, it's not hot. It's just been a slow dribble down straight from the morning. And there's Google. I haven't looked at NVIDIA yet, but I think that's contributing to it. Yeah, NVIDIA is just pinned. Who else? Meta. Yeah, a lot of tech is pinned. Let's get a checkup here again. Show me what you're working with. Dow is 21 in the red, 9 in the green. It was like 22 at the worst today. So that hasn't really changed. NASDAQ was 50-50. Now it's 65 red, 34 in the green. So yeah, NASDAQ got a little worse. NASDAQ's still down 0.37. SPY and Dow doing worse. Russell's not as bad though. So last time you were down here, Russell almost went break even. And then SPY 340 in the red, 150-ish in the green. Comcast. I don't really like the communications companies, but then after this deal, I mean, they might kind of get a little bit of a boost, but it depends what your goal is and whatever else you have in there. At the very least, it doesn't look overpriced. Let me see. But yeah, sometimes these communication companies, they just have like a fuck ton of debt from back in the day. I don't know if they pay a dividend or not, but then, you know, it may not be either as stable or it'll just kind of be dead money. But Comcast is a good company. It's going to be around in 10 years. They have very good assets. I'm not too familiar with their debt. I do like that it's down kind of significantly on the year, and you're going back to what, 2015 prices. So like I'm saying, with the deal and people selling stuff, that might help out some of its value. But you know, I think the only worry with these is that they underperform, or like it just turns into dead money for a little bit. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's the worst though. I wouldn't say it's the worst. It's not like number one on any of my lists, but yeah, it's decent. Who's that remind me of? Comcast. Oh, Verizon. That's who it reminds me of. Because that's what I'm saying. Like, we bought Verizon and AT&T, and like it just might do something like this. You see what I'm saying? Where like eventually, hopefully, it stops dying, but it just might be one of those where it like does nothing. Like AT&T. That's AT&T. When we bought it, it was good, but like it's kind of crazy. AT&T went back to green, and then you got to capture all the dividends. But what's Comcast yield? Why no load, Habibi? Let's see. It pays a dividend deal, right? Yeah, 13 cents. 4.89. Yeah, so not bad. Afraid Halios says Middle East is becoming Silicon Valley, a capitalist. It's super slow, bro. If there wasn't the Fed this week, I even think some people might take off just because, like, you already know what Powell's going to do. And then I think it might be a little bit more drama. Again, Powell's kind of pissed. But, yeah, it is the holidays, you guys. So, I'm out. I remember I wasn't even supposed to stay for December. I was going to dip out earlier, but then it was getting a little exciting. And then my plans changed a little bit, but so I don't know. You guys want to go on Craigslist? Should we go shopping? How do you want to do this? But it's going to be slow. I mean, slow. Got the long-term jeans in the 10% fire. Winter fire. Got the long-time looking. Oh yeah, they already did. 100%. That's why a lot of it's going to be kind of computer. And then it's really, though, the pocket you got to be aware of for December is after Christmas to New Year's. It's still going to be slow, but it's going to be more auto buying than not. Waymo hits 450,000 paid weekly rides as robo-taxi unit widens over Tesla. That's crazy. 450,000 Waymos a week. I mean, it makes sense though, bro. Once you use a damn Waymo, you're gonna get like 5 of them. Cause after I used it, bro, like they're easy, they're quick, and then it just shows up. Little Wayme, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Yeah, Disney, LMT. Oh, my bad. Yeah, the SCP too. That will be big, but like even then, this is one of 4 of the last meetings of Powell. And then all of these Fed guys theoretically could be replaced. I mean, they all have terms that expire kind of at the same time. And then, I mean, you have the media, and you could argue the bond market is saying that they kind of believe, but I mean, it's I don't think this has been the best Fed, more or less, as of late. Secretary of State Rubio, U.S. will proceed with AUKUS security partnership. Yeah, that crypto headline is coming out again with the banks in the meeting that they had. There's a risk with Venezuela still. I mean, it's all about oil. So really the idea is, depending on what happens in Venezuela, but mainly Russia, Ukraine, that's going to, once we get something resolved out of there, that's going to free up what should happen to oil. Oil might even go higher after. So that's sadly the only risk, is what it does to oil. Because if you guys haven't noticed, commodities, we talked about that last week, how everything except commodities has had inflation. Last time we had inflation, it tracked with commodities, but like copper, gold, silver, a lot of different materials have gone up there, but it's not necessarily, you know, you're not getting broader service and goods inflation the same way. But that's why whatever happens with some of these global conflicts, if it opens up the door for oil moving, that's gonna really paint the picture for 2026 and what we're dealing with. Oh, LMT could be it. Japan says no abnormalities at Fukushima. Well, thanks, Japan. All right, Chad. Are you ready for more Supreme Court? I need to play the Supreme Court because I got these stretches. I need to show you it, but I have to like hold them for like a minute at a time. So I'm going to play the stretch. I'm going to play the Supreme Court. Please do a push-up. Please stare at an object 10, 20, 30 feet away. Blink a few times. Relax those pretty little eyeballs. I think some people needed the reminder. Blink, 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 blink. Blink, 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 blink. That, oh. When was the last time you relaxed your eyeballs? I'm sorry for not telling you. Some of you haven't relaxed your eyeballs in like a year. So go, stare away, brother. Stare away. The optometrist approves. Be easy. Be blessed. Oh, chest to the sun. Flex the core. Tuck the hips in and move around. Get some good movement there. Yeah, I saw that. That was real. The Waymo gridlock?
Basically, we would win this case and virtually every other case, because almost all the agencies, cabinet level or independent agencies, are going to have civil enforcement powers in most cases and so forth. But if they're narrow, then we have a situation where Congress could reconstruct virtually the entire executive branch outside the president's control. And that is not even a Republican form of government. But that is the logic of the position that's being advanced here. That is the parade of horribles the court ought to consider. And that contrasts dramatically with what, for example, Madison said when he talked about the great principle of unity and responsibility, the chain of dependence that runs from the lowest to the middle grade to the highest to the president, and the president is accountable to the community, which is the voters. In short, Humphrey's executor is a decaying husk with bold pretensions. It has a powerful hold on the minds of some people within our constitutional system. It certainly seems to have a powerful hold on the minds of lower court decisions. The lower courts and their decisions. The court should overrule Humphrey's executor explicitly and restore the separation of powers to our government.
Thank you, counsel. The case is submitted.
The Honorable Court is now adjourned until...
Oh, shit. It ended. Come on, bro. I just needed like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Yeah, they just ended it. The Honorable. Woo!
Did think about in recent history, for certain, where in the depths of late 22 to 23 to getting into the S&P 500 at the precipice of 26. That's something. Let's get the headlines now with Mackenzie Sigalis. Hi, Mac.
Hey, Scott. An Israeli spokesperson says Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet with President Trump on December 29th to discuss next steps for the Gaza ceasefire. The second phase is due to begin once Hamas locates and returns the remains of the final deceased hostage in Gaza. Netanyahu has said negotiations are close, but key issues still need to be resolved. Syria marked the first anniversary of the toppling of dictator Bashar al-Assad's regime today as the country struggles to overcome economic challenges and find stability after years of war. Al-Assad's tyrannical rule came to an end last year when he fled to Russia after rebels seized Damascus. Syria's new leader pledged today to rebuild a just and strong country. And FIFA says this summer's World Cup in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada will include 3-minute hydration breaks in all matches, not just those in hot weather. Referees will stop play 22 minutes into each half, no matter the temperature, the host country, or whether the stadium has a roof or air conditioning. The move comes after heat became an issue during last summer's
hydration break
World Cup in the U.S. Back to you, Scott.
Okay, Mac, thank you, Mackenzie Scales. Coming up, Goldman Sachs making a new $2 billion bet in the ETF world. The details in ETF Edge. They're next.
Is that like a new, is that different for soccer? I would have maybe played soccer if they gave you. That's so much running. I would have liked that growing up. Oh. Red flag. I mean, it's in America though. Wasn't the World Cup in Qatar or something? It's hot as fuck over there. I don't think they even had the hydration break. TGL, man, Disney. So Disney in defense value like TAP is still going up. I got 2 more. I'll finish my stretches once we get a propaganda returning. They did it in winter in Qatar. I was like, I know there was some soccer match there. He's hot, Habibi, hot. Stay hydrated. You guys should have a hydration break. I mean, here at the Cult, we mandate a hydration break, hydration and stretching. I actually never told you to hydrate. So maybe you guys should get hydrated. Lead by example. Oh, here you go, man. Game time. Game time. Oh, is this it? I think this...
The Magnificent Seven may no longer be so magnificent.
Yeah, listen to this.
After more than a decade of overweighting tech, veteran strategist Ed Yardeni now advises investors to pull back, warning profit margins are under threat. He's even urging investors to look beyond the U.S. So, why the shift? We'll ask him in just a few minutes.
So
live from Singapore, this is Insight with Haslinda Armin, where we dive research and add why that change. It is a massive change for you.
Okay, finish your
Well, it's always time to think about the future when you get to the end of a year. 2025 is almost over. We're now thinking about 2026. I've been recommending overweighting information technology communication service since 2010. The problem is it's worked all too well. The two sectors now account for a humongous 45% of the market cap of the S&P 500. Of course, their earnings share has also increased, but nowhere near as far. And the same thing can be said about looking at the U.S. versus the global economy. When you look at the U.S. MSCI relative to the world MSCI index, what you see is the U.S. now accounts for 65% of the market cap of the world stock market. So it's hard to recommend overweighting something that's already quite overweight. I mean, if you just told people just to maintain the current weight of the index, that would still be an overweight position relative to what most people would think would be a diversified portfolio.
And what's fundamentally changed? Because when we talk about, overstretched valuations, they've been that way for a very long time now. And when you take a look at the AI cycle, people still point to how it is still at the nascent stage.
Well, I would say with regards to the Magnificent Seven, what's I think has changed is they're competing more aggressively against each other, and they've got more competition coming out of nowhere and somewhere on a regular basis here. We recently saw that Google introduced Gemini 3, which suddenly made everybody kind of reconsider just how strong the position is of OpenAI and OpenAI's relationship to lots of other AI-related companies. And then just at the same time, DeepSeek came back. Remember DeepSeek, when it introduced its model back in January of this year, kind of shocked everybody because they were able to put together a pretty good AI model that worked as well as some of the other ones in the United States, but apparently it was trained on chips that cost a lot less. And now it looks like they're doing it again, and there's some talk that the latest version of the DeepSeek model is just as good as Gemini 3. So there's a lot of competition. The profit margins have been awfully high from the Magnificent Seven. That usually invites a lot of competition, and that's exactly what's happening. And by the way, once you look at the S&P 500 and look outside of the Magnificent Seven, there's what I call the impressive 493. There's still plenty of good stocks out there of companies that are going to be using all these technologies, to increase their productivity and to increase their profit margins. So I think broadening out a portfolio from the Magnificent Seven to the 493 makes sense to me.
Add lots of money sloshing around, tech companies spending a lot, investing a lot. In fact, we're just getting news that IBM is nearing about an $11 billion deal for Confluent. That's according to Wall Street Journal. What do you make of, the kind of investments these companies are making, and how might this play out?
Yeah, everybody's jockeying around for position. Nobody's quite sure how this all plays out. I mean, this could be a horse race that just never ends. When NVIDIA and OpenAI were kind of leading the way, of course, OpenAI is a private company, but companies that were related to OpenAI were certainly leading the way in the AI race. Suddenly, Google comes out of nowhere and claims that they've got a better model, and apparently it's been corroborated that they do have a better model, and it's done on cheaper chips instead of NVIDIA's GPUs. It's done on Google's TPUs, and Google basically has it all. So right now, Google looks to be in the lead, but this is a very, very dynamic situation that will change. By the way, I think we really have to view all companies, particularly the impressive 493, as technology companies. Everybody's using technology to make themselves more efficient, to cut their costs, to increase their productivity, to deal with the shortage of skilled labor. And so I continue to recommend overweight and more financial and industrials, and something that I haven't really touched is healthcare. And all these three sectors have tremendous potential to increase their profit margins with the technologies that are out there. And it's not just AI, it's robotics, it's automation, it's lots of innovations that I think are going to continue to make this a very rapidly moving investment landscape.
And if you're underweight Mag 7, will you be overweight Chinese tech? Have you changed your mind about China and China tech and all its AI plays?
Well, the Magnificent Seven account for 30% of the S&P 500. So it's the same issue I have. We're looking at it another way, and that's information technology and communication services. Now, with regards to a global portfolio, I have been recommending since 2010 what I call stay home, which is overweighting the United States. The problem is the United States is 65% now, as I mentioned before, of the market cap of the MSCI. So yes, I would broaden out to a global portfolio, including emerging markets, for sure. I think, China has proven to be...
Emerging markets, but how about in China in particular?
China! So do you guys get what he's saying? I don't know if you guys got that. Did you understand what that whole thing was about? I don't know how much Eddie Ardeni manages. I think a lot. But you realize he's telling you what we told you on the long-term video. So I'm glad. Like I told you, a lot of things this year, bro. I'll share it with you. But then, it's catching up a lot faster. some of these ideas you would usually have a lot more time. I still think you do in the mid to long term, but like, do you guys not get it? They're saying exactly what we were talking about with the list. The S&P 500, find the best neighborhood, the cheap ones, and there's still a lot of good quality names there, while everybody is kind of trying to identify. Like, tech is just, it's crowded, bro, and it's a lot. But yeah, there's a lot of big American, just good values. I think they're all, every single one on the S&P is American. But yeah, there's some good companies there, bro. Some very good companies. But yeah, so you heard it here first. So yeah, hopefully you did your push-ups. I'm done with the main ones. I'm gonna do some lunges, but now I'm back at the screen. Yeah, 493 versus the 7. That was just the other day I made it a title. But I've said that a lot. That's kind of how we identified the breadth and some of the outweighting that we've seen on a lot of other days. But yeah, definitely. And then again, just he's saying, bringing up just the S&P and all those names. There's some very good names on the S&P. Like I was saying, we shared it for a couple months and then put out the video there with the long term. But I'm telling you, man, it kind of materialized a little faster. Even that's what I was saying last week on Friday when we came in, because like the advancers and decliners, you had a very nice opportunity, but then it's kind of crazy how quickly it went from just instant value buy to a lot of people did pile in. But that is, I think, going to be a major theme. Obviously, tech and AI is going to be important, and it still could lead the way. But, man, thinking 10 years out and looking at some of these values, bro, for some of these not everything in the world is overvalued. I mean, there's just so many names that are even just cheaper than 2020 now, or if they've given up the last couple of years, but they're doing good. And then if they do find any other benefits, that's where they get really good. Zelensky, there's a small progress towards peace. Thanks, Z. Oh, damn, Victoria's Secret. That went crazy on Friday, too. Been hearing that for 2 years. Not really. I don't think they've been this low. So go look on the S&P and you'll see the names that you had a couple, but it was underperforming a little bit the last year though too, but not in the same way. This time now, these companies have done good. But hey, man, to each his own. To each his own. We already bought our tech, so that's where, if you have followed along, you get a different advantage. Oh, you meant Zelensky's? I was like, oh, if you're talking the value, man, I mean, hey, you could continuously chase the other ones. Zelensky, I don't know. We'll find out. I would like a war to end, but then the war ending is just going to fuck with oil. That's the part I don't think we've really talked about a lot. Like, if the war in Ukraine ends, I think oil's going to rip. I think Bank of America was talking about that, and then that's kind of where some of the value comes in, or not the value, the Venezuela stuff comes into play. The Magnificent Legal, the mediocre 7. I still think they're gonna be great. The best part about these last 2 years, even right now, is just you legitimately have value. It's crazy. Because again, it sucks when they're all at fucking all-time highs, but now, again, even Procter & Gamble hit a 52-week low today. You can actually shop. So that's one I still like. I wish the yield was a little more, but I don't know why they keep dumping like that, dude. On these days that there's no value bid, PG's been going down 2, 3, 4%. I don't know if they have ex-dividend. I don't think so. U.S. FCC may bar providers from connecting calls from Chinese telecoms to companies' U.S. networks as part of robocall prevention. Damn, 9:50. I swear it was just 9:30. That did not take 20 minutes to stretch, did it? My goodness, Chatadonia. Set this up. It's already 10, bro. On a Monday. Oh, man. I think I might have too much for you guys today. For philo, there's actually a lot. There is actually a lot. Why would oil rip? Because there's a bunch of like price caps and a bunch of things that have kind of been limiting the price of oil. But like, you got to think about it. It would open up like the global demand a lot more. And then now it pretty much you get rid of the price caps. So if there wasn't a price cap on oil, that changes. I think the demand would still stay the same, but right now everyone's just moving oil either quietly or getting it from other places. And then again, you have the Venezuela, you have all the conflicted Middle East countries. So it plays out a little differently, but the idea would be that you go back to, back to what you were prior. Remember, like, dude, oil doesn't really stay this low. It's even like during, I remember $40 before the first sanction, but then the first sanction when, Uncle put out that one song, that's what made it go crazy. But I do think, the price caps, the limiting of Russian assets, it really affected price. It didn't necessarily change demand too much, but it had a big impact on price. So, and then right now too, every other commodity is through the roof. So I don't know if you guys have noticed that. We talked about it last week as well too. Oh, hi Xbox. Oh shit. Well, let me see if I can find you the chart. I don't think I saved them all. But yeah, here's commodities. So literally the 10-year rolling returns on commodities, these have been the highest versus bonds. It's been the highest since 2008, right? So people are buying physical, real shit. The price of that's going up, and then paper, debt, other things are going down. I think here's another one. So metals have broken out to a new high, and then natural resources, again, they're kind of just breaking out to a certain level. And then I think that's it for it. I might have another older commodity chart. But this is what we were talking about last week, like Thursday, Friday, because if it's not like, prices, paper, services, they're not going up, but you go look at the commodity side of the, and there's a couple things like lumber that are down, but like minerals, metals, stuff related to like the global market, they're surging. Some people are even saying that's why Latin American companies are doing good because of this. So that's why it's like, I think if you free up the world with oil, there's been a push and drive to like actual physical items, and that is the weirdest part about this. That's the part that kind of gets some people scared, because last time you had commodities up and everything kind of weaker, it was 2008. Remember, oil did rocket, but then again, there was conflict going on back then too. But yeah, wherever oil and commodities end up next week, it's going to be, or next year, that's going to start to, I think, paint an important picture. Is NVIDIA moving? We got a candle on the SPY. Yeah, NVIDIA straight up. Hi! NVIDIA.com. Yeah, bro, NVIDIA just popped. It's either going to be a scam to sucker us in. The options haven't moved. They're going up a little. Nope, they wouldn't film me. Yeah, that might hit. Oh. I already missed out the 30%. NVIDIA's to allow H200 exports to China. They scammed me a little bit, bro. You had 30% easy. I'm up like another 10, but that would have been 40% of it. I didn't have to reorder. Yeah, US to allow NVIDIA H200 exports to China. Semaphore is the source. So usually Semaphore, it'll hit the wire a little later. Technically, Semaphore is its own little site. But yeah. Oh, those fucking hit. You can make them free here in a little bit. Oh, watch Baba too. Oh yeah, those went up another 100, bro. What the fuck? You would have got such a good fill though on the first one. Whack. All right, I made it free 100%. Yeah, bro, that went fucking ape shit. Dude, I even was late on it. That's the crazy part. Yeah, it's not. It'll hit it in like 5 minutes. I don't even think that's circulated yet. So again, I don't even think a lot of people haven't got their hands on that one yet. You're still kind of early. I thought I was late because I was late on the fucking order. I had to cancel and redo it. I would have got 200% on that. But I made it free already. So if you got the first move, you don't have to push it too hard. And then watch Baba. I think that's a good secondary as well. Remember, we were just talking about the momentum. All right, now it's hitting wires now. So give it a second. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm in a call. Hey, happy Honda days. Nice. Oh, that was a massive move. 2%. I'm surprised though the SPY still lagged a little bit. And the NVIDIA news is being allowed H200 chips to China. All right, baby. Well, hey, you guys know, even on your lag, you still fucking beat everybody. So good work. Nice. Nice. All right. Yeah, it's starting to circulate a little bit. You had so you had like, what, a 3-minute jump even on your delay? Merry Christmas. We got the same H200 news. You're going to keep getting it pumped in and out. I wouldn't, rely on it, but, yeah, just is after last week. Remember they were saying the senatorship? So, yeah, you're just going to get the back and forth. Yeah, AMD, too? I can't believe those, dude. I missed the extra 100%. They just... Again, they did it, though, again. When it doesn't fill, that's how you know it's going to hit. I think you're going to get AMD, Baba. I don't know. Did even fucking Intel move up? Or did... check TSM. SMCI is actually even going with it, too. No, it's already circulating now. But you had the first, I mean, 200% on that first window. It's going to fade eventually. I'm worried about that, but otherwise you could go for the secondaries. I mean, I'm still holding a couple of the NVIDIAs. But I don't know if maybe it's because everybody's fucking holiday season right now. Because it was slow. But then you just got to watch out because if it gets overcrowded. But it's still holding up a little bit, even with the crowding. My shit, I gotta use my TOS. Yeah, China did say they don't allow. That's why I think it's gonna fade eventually, but for now, there's just nothing else going on. So they're liking it. Yeah, the plays are up well more than 100% now. Even on that, and that was the late one. That should have been 200. Even as it's coming down, the premiums are going higher. I'm in a coat. Yeah. I'll give you guys one. Anything more, you're a jackass. Thank you. Yeah, they're getting more updates on it. The Commerce Department plans to let NVIDIA older H200s. All right, it's going to fade again. Backed by Letnic could significantly boost revenue while it's still the reduced powered chips. It's literally the same shit over and over again. So just watch. I think, again, you have secondaries. Now AMD's going up. I don't know. AMD is the one that has more of the reduced powered ones. Or it's not a NVIDIA chip, but same sort of guideline there. It's literally just kind of regurgitating it all. I just woke everybody up. All right, well, let's go to Philo. I need to set up Philo. I'm glad we got to hit one today. Before the whole entire world, Chad. Come on. Merry Christmas. You know I love you. Oh. Everybody, you should have all still got one. If you wanted it, or you don't gamble and you be wise. But my brothers, just get a long-term. What a great day. Told you it would be a good day. From the long time. Nibis now. There's a couple of others catching some steam off of it. But yeah, I just watch the main ones and see. Yeah, G did. They had a report there. It sounds new and it sounds like a little baby lifeline, but it does seem like it's just kind of a circle jerk of the same news. And I don't think anything really changed. That's why I said I would prepare for it to fade. You either caught the first ones and then you could go for the sympathies, and then other than that, I mean, that first move was in the first couple minutes. Like I'm saying, even if you were late, like I had to change orders, but it was actually really good. All right, Chad. Well, time to move to philosophy. You got one. So you got your play for the day. You could still even hold a little. I mean, they should even cover you for. I forgot it's only Monday. So again, it's getting reiterated again and moving. But if you would like to talk about life, you guys like it. Oh wait, I put the philo for 24 hours. Hold on, I put the wrong date. Please, let's alter that. We're living in the future, so makes sense. But yeah, man, if you want to talk about life, we'll see you there. If you don't want to talk about life, you could go somewhere else and get the info later. That's up to you. That's a personal decision. But we'll still have a couple of stock things, you know, just in case. But yeah, let's talk some good life stuff, man. I think we got some good philos here for the end of the year. And really, it's about starting the year, man. I think the year has already began. And I think if you get it with the jump start, bro, oh, life is going to be good. And you can make things great for you. So that's running even more. God bless you. I will see you there. It should take you there. It's free to join. And then again, you can listen to some stuff if you like. And then I will post the link. But don't come if you don't want to come. I'm telling you. Don't get in the habit of paying for things that you don't use. So pay attention. Ask anybody. I'm telling you, your light, you will brighten up everything. What is your aura, brother? What is your aura? So I love you. God bless you. Thank you for your time. I hope I see you there. I really do. But, you know, to each his own, man. Peace.